Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast. This is episode 102, and we apologize for the train wreck that was 101, but our normal programming has resumed. And today we're joined by Mr. Tyler, aka Ober Time. Graham, Richie, Cody, and myself, Luke, are here. So let's just get into it.
I'm a little biased, but I don't like your intro. They're so
Yeah, I
flat.
thought it was very bland. It was very bland. We could keep it going, but
I want to know
give
what
us some
on the
life,
fire. Put some
Luke.
flair on it.
I like
Yeah,
scream. I like
feel it
blow
out.
people's
I want
speakers
to
out
feel
when it
like
starts.
I'm at a Madonna concert right now.
Tuesday,
Maybe
Tuesday,
Spirit.
Tuesday. It'll be the fight between the blue collar boys and the Ober Time.
There we go. That's gotta be. That's the level of intensity we need for the intro. That's even better than me. You should do the intro, Cody.
Sorry, I
Well,
was actually just putting on my AC because I'm sweating ball sacks right now because for some reason it's November and it's like 70 degrees out. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but here we are. Global warming, I guess. I don't
It's
know.
not that warm over here, so I don't know what you're doing wrong, but uh, oceans and shit. But
so
anyways, yeah, Luke, you go.
I was gonna say, what's the rig, Tyler?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, whoa,
Tell us
whoa.
tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into wheeling because then that usually builds up to your current rig. So let's do that.
Fine, just fuck the announcer today.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Y'all wilding. Yeah, you ready to do this thing?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I guess we'll start kind of how I got into wheeling. We'll turn on into the rig, but probably well back. I think it was back in high school. I had one of my best friends in high school. Man, he had a '97 TJ. And we had no freaking clue what we were doing. But he had a TJ, another buddy with a freaking full body Bronco, a couple of buddies, Rangers and stuff like that. And we just used to do reckless stuff all the time. We never really did anything serious, but we ride around dirt roads behind a local airport. Every now and then we'd lurk down like George Washington National Forest to hit like the fire roads, but we never did anything worthwhile. But that definitely got me hooked. Right? So that's what kind of get me into Jeeps and off roading and four wheel and stuff like that. I've always been into cars, always been into engines, always been into messing with stuff ever since I was a kid. So I mean, it was only a natural progression that I was either going fast or I was going to run something big over. But yeah, I got my first Jeep a couple years later. I think I was like a sophomore in college. And that's really where it started. It was an '04 TJ. I don't know. Have y'all ever seen my old TJ?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
believe so.
No.
No.
Yeah, if you go back into the depths on my Instagram, man, that's kind of where it all started. I had an '04 TJ I got when I was a sophomore in college, and I just sold it like 2-3 years ago. But I had that all through college. It wasn't anything crazy. Little light khaki metallic, man. It was bone stock on some 31s. Went over to college for a few years and just enjoyed it. And then once I got out of school, man, I got in with a gang of guys down here. I'm from like Hampton Roads area, down like Southeast Virginia. And I got in with a group of guys down here that I worked with, some boys I went to school with, and we all got the bug, man. I got one boy, Scott. He kind of done us all over for good. He went and came right out of college. He had an '04 LJ and threw it on tons, 40-inch MTRs and all that. So once he built that, obviously we were done for. We said we're not doing forest roads no more. We're gonna go build something big. So I was at a point in my life where I was living in an apartment at first. So I had like a little one-car garage at the apartment, man, and it didn't have nothing I could actually have real tools in. I think it had one 120-volt outlet, but that was nice because I didn't get charged electricity for it, so I just ran a heater like 6 months out of the year. So that was great. It was always nice and warm in there. But yeah, I built that TJ up pretty much as far as you could build a TJ and still have like stockist suspension. I was on 37s, built Dana 44s, freaking Airbeats front and rear. I had 35 spline chrome ollies in the back. Them things were as big as 14-volt shafts. I couldn't believe I never broke one of them. But built 44s. I was running nice savvy arms and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it was still a TJ, right? And it was still pretty nice. And that's when we really started getting into like more hardcore style wheeling the stuff that we're riding now. And it got to the point where I was the only guy in a half-ton rig. All my buddies had either built 2 buggies. I got one boy with a freaking half-ton Blazer that got full tubed out, and we talk about that a little later. And then a couple other guys who built YJs, tons of 40s, and I was rolling around on that little TJ, man, and she was still pretty nice. So I don't want to say I was scared of body damage back then, but definitely didn't look forward to it. So I knew where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in an LS rig on tons, 40s and bigger, stickies and all that. And I kind of made a decision to myself that's like, am I really going to destroy this thing and cut everything out of it and rip every piece out of it? Mm-hmm. Or should I just start from scratch? So I don't know. Y'all ever hit that point?
Yeah. Haven't hit it yet, but I think mine's past the point of caring. It's about gone. I mean, I might hit a point where I don't want to work on it anymore, and I just need to transfer things over. But yeah. I'm pretty committed to the body I have, and at this point it's trashed, so I'm just going to keep going with it. I definitely completely understand the one guy with tons and everybody, you have to sort of follow up. It wasn't quite the same for me, but when I first linked up with the club that we're all a part of, because in New England you got to have a club to actually go and wheel and do cool shit.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's a totally different world up here because
that's kind of whack,
right? I mean, you're in liberal country. It's frowned upon. So the only way to do it is through private property. So I'll give a quick synopsis. A lot of people listening probably already know what the NEA is, but essentially it's a bunch of clubs that have sort of organized, talked with private property owners, and bought property. I think they've got 2 properties now that they just straight up own. And so we have like a good handful of smaller properties to pick from. So either way, I met up with a bunch of these guys and our buddy Colin, who we've had on the podcast several times. I mean, my Jeep was pretty. It wasn't stock, but it was basically stock. It was like 33s, like barely anything. And I see this other, this dude who I don't even know roll in a Cherokee with a hybrid and 37s and like 60 rear, 44 front, and I was like, oh, okay, that's where I want to be, right? And then everything changes from there. You're off in a completely different. You go off the deep end pretty much when you see that shit, and it's in front of you and it's tangible and you can talk to the guy, right? At least that's what it was for me.
That's the point in your life where you make the decision that you just want to be poor for the rest of your days.
Yep, pretty much.
See, for me, it's the opposite. Instead of the one guy with tons, it's all my friends have tons. And then I'm just like chilling 30 front, 44 rear with 35s. I'm like, all right, boys, let's go have some fun. Woo!
Yeah, you just did it backwards. You're it's probably intimidating for you and some of the other smaller guys that we've got rolling around now. But you'll get there. It takes a while.
I got to tell you, back then, I got pretty dang good at changing out front stub shafts on my 44. There were plenty of times when I was leading the rigs around different trails, man, and I got up on a big ledge and broke a stub, pulled off to the side. By the time the 7 or 8 rigs went by, I had a new stub in it. We were hitting it again. So, you get pretty good when you're changing the stub every trip.
Oh yeah, I mean, it keeps the parts fresh, right? Easy to take them off, throw a new one in. You know what it needs. You just get it quick.
Don't worry about your bolts rusting up either.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the best part. None of my stuff got seized up because it was coming out every 3 weeks. Right? So I think the best part about that, and talking about it just reminded me, man, was because there was a point with that TJ. I used to daily drive it. I daily drove it on 37 because it was the only vehicle I had back then. And I got in a freaking wreck with it. I had some lady was driving in front of me. God, that was probably 2009, 2010. And that was about 2012, after I graduated college. This lady driving in front of me, man, she fell asleep. I'm running 65 mile an hour down the highway. She veered off the road and hit one of them guardrails head on, like them concrete guardrail barriers, and spun back in the road. And I can only swerve but so much. I ended up hitting her head on in that TJ, and freaking it That's when it had a Dana 30 in it. Still had a freaking Dana 30 in the front. It bent the front axle in half, ripped all the suspension mounts off the frame, bent the frame.
Wow.
Freaking, yeah, that was pretty crazy. But, it sucked. It was my first day back from vacation. It wasn't a great time, but,
Ugh.
it worked out in the end because, fortunately I was renting a house at that point. And, I do all my own work on everything. I don't really let anybody touch any of my vehicles unless it's like something simple like putting tires on the dang thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I ended up cashing out with insurance, man. They came like $200 from totaling the rig. I cashed out with insurance for parts and labor and ended up buying a crate G2 Dana 44 for the front. Thought it was big stuff back then, big dog Dana 44 style. And, I think I don't know if it's happened to other people, but once I had that set up in the front, I had that G2 44 in the front. It got to the point where G2 started denying me warranty claims on axle shaft. I was probably 8 or 9 axle shafts deep, and to be honest, that probably over the course of 3 years, and I couldn't believe they were still sending them to me. It got to a point where I called him one day, and this dude's talking to me. And I guess he pulls up my, customer number, whatever, and he's like, "Sir, can you please wait a minute?" Like, I'm on hold for like 15 minutes, and like the manager gets on, and like they start asking me 20 questions, like I'm the Russians invading Ukraine right now, and they're like, we need pictures of your rig, we need pictures of where you were wheeling, like we don't believe it's possible for somebody to break this many shafts. And I was like, they got to the point where basically they thought that like me and all my boys were going riding and we
Like
were all
purposely
breaking
trying to
axle
break
shafts.
it. Yeah.
And I was getting free axle shafts for the squad the whole time.
Oh.
Oh my God. But we went round and round and round. I sent them pictures. I sent them videos. We went back and forth 4 or 5 phone calls. And every time before that, it was pick up the phone, 45-second conversation, new one's on the way. No problem, sir. And it got to the point where, we met a stalemate. And, I had a box full of broken axle shafts. But I took every single broken one out, and I laid it on the hood of my Jeep, and I sent a selfie with me and all my broken shafts in front of their axle in my Jeep. And I said, I don't know what the problem is here. Here they are. If you're happy now, send me a new shaft. Otherwise, stop bothering me. And they informed me that this would be the last time they would be doing business with me. But they did send me. They did send me one, so that worked out, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice of them.
Yeah, that worked out. But yeah, man, that's easy. I love that dang thing. That was my first Jeep. Freaking, I got the Ober Time license plate that used to be on it right up on the wall here. But I guess I got a decent story with that. I'll fill you all
I
of
was
that
gonna
later,
say,
where that comes from. We can talk about that later.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, man, that TJ led the door open for me, man. We went to Harlan, Kentucky, Windrock. Y'all ever heard of Big Dogs up in Gore, Virginia at the Cove Campground?
We've
I've
heard
heard
of
of
that.
it, but I
Yeah, used to
Not
live out
much.
there in that thing. Roush, man, I can't think of where else. We used to have like a local place down here in Hampton Roads at one of the Jeep dealerships. We had a pretty neat little course I used to help the guys manage and build back there. But that Jeep went everywhere, man, and ran some pretty awesome trails, and it had a little 5-speed in it. That's back when I was I used to use the man pedal. Now I'm just a sissy using my fingers and hands. But yeah, you couldn't beat that. Any of y'all's rigs stick shift?
Yep. Both
Yep.
me, Luke. Yeah, me and Luke.
Not me. I'm gay.
Yeah, we know.
Can I get your numbers in?
Gotcha. I'll slide to you on the side after.
That slide to me and so slide. So, I mean, there's nothing like 4,000 RPM clutch drops in third gear. There's nothing like that really get you going.
We were just at Good Evening Ranch, and like
Love that
the
place. By
the traction there is pretty good, like all
Yep.
things considered. But I can't fucking drive, so the entire time that my rig was wheeling was just one clutch dump to the next clutch dump.
That's good.
And it's funny that you mentioned the head-on collision, because I had a 98 XJ, and we were on some fire roads on our way up to Richie's campsite because his parents had a campground in Massachusetts. We came around the corner, and there was a car coming head-on to us on like this blind corner on our side of the road. We hit them head-on, and I went through the same insurance shit as you did and kept driving the Jeep afterwards, but I spent a lot of time fixing that thing up, and that's what led me in a weird way to having a 1-ton XJ uh, after 2 other rigs and a bunch of stupid shit. So it's just entertaining and similar.
Oh yeah. No, it's cool. It's like, my rig definitely ended up for the better, but it, probably put me in a worse spot because it just got me more hooked and I just spent more money. But it's
Yeah.
all right.
I already had the Trust 44 under it, but I ripped the frame up and everything, and then I got an inspection sticker a year or two later, and after that, it was like I built this. We're not going to go too far into it, but we're going to call it a ZJ buggy, and the thing was terrible. And then I took that apart and built the current. I've got the blue XJ on tons with coilovers in the rear, and it started out as like 35s and everything, and then from there it just kind of downbound spiraled. I ripped like 2 track bar mounts off, said fuck this, I'm putting tons under it, and here we are.
Heck yeah.
That track bar was the stupidest thing ever.
It was.
That made no sense. It literally
It really-
sheared like, and I was actually just making fun of Trail Trash, or not making fun of him, but bugging him for not mounting that to those 2 holes on the Cherokee, and I think TJs have them too, and probably YJs if they have a track bar, right?
Yeah.
Underneath the motor mount, it's like a motor mount bolt and a track bar mount bolt. Maybe they don't have it because it's not a unibody. But either way, like it just sheared off of that. Like it's how thick was that? It had to be like 3/16 quarter inch. Yeah, it's like not thin metal, and it just sheared it right off. Didn't care.
Yeah, the newer freaking frame side track bar mounts on like a 03 and up TJ are like this like nodular iron big old.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
And
They
damn right if I rip that thing in half. I ripped that thing in half, my old TJ. It was about to rip completely off. I just bent it back with a big old hammer and welded it back together and said, that's good enough for this.
Yep.
I ended up doing like a support that tied into the passenger side of the frame. I had no freaking clue what I was doing. I had a little piece of like 3/4 by 3/4, like 120 wall box tubing. And I'm like, yeah, that'll do, pig. Welded it to one side and slid it all the way across and welded it to the track bar mounts. Perfect. Good to go. But yeah, man, so that's what got it going. That's what got it started. And it never really got more than that, man. It just stayed, built 44s, 37s, and I wheeled the living dog piss out of it for years. If I guess, you want to talk about like, I guess the birth of Ober Time, like that's where it was from. Like my like Instagram and all that, it was from building that thing, and then freaking, like I said before, man, I knew I wanted to be in a rig with LS on tons, and I was like, okay, like this thing is still kind of nice because I had full corners on the back of that TJ. I had metal club fenders, full corners. So I mean it didn't really have any body damage, man. I mean the rockers and everything protected it, and I didn't have the money for aluminum at the time, but I got to tell you, these days, anytime I see an aluminum freaking quarter, the tub is absolutely destroyed. So that was probably a good thing. But yeah, I mean that's what we did building new rigs. I was shopping around, and I knew I wanted a clean slate, and I was looking. I wasn't in a rush to buy anything, man. I was, collecting parts on the side. A 14 bolt came across Marketplace for a good deal, or I guess it was Craigslist back then. Craigslist is dead now. Jesus.
Yep.
It is.
Came across like a late model 14 bolt factory disc brakes. Went and bought that. Came across a Super Duty 60. Went and bought that. Came across some MP241 transfer cases. Went and bought those. Freaking 241Cs now. Don't get it twisted. We're not a 4-to-1 guy around here.
I've seen you drive. There ain't no way that's a 4-to-1.
No, we like wheel speed around here. Yeah, dude, I was collecting parts for like 5 years. I didn't even have like a Jeep. I was just like, I know I want to be on tons. I'm gonna go find it, man. I won a raffle at an event that was like buy 3 race lines, get 1 free. Or no, buy 2 race lines, get 1 free. So I had wheels before I even had a rig. I had a stack of wheels in the corner, but I came across a 1990 YJ that coincidentally was like 2 miles from my house. I was at work. My buddy sent it to me. It was a 90 YJ roller. It was a 4-cylinder rig. It was gutted. Didn't have no motor. Only had like a driver and a passenger seat. Was the 30 and 35 in it. Set of bald tires on it. No transfer case, no transmission, no drive shafts, nothing. And I think I picked that rig up for like $400 or $500. Like it was a completely rust-free tub, completely rust-free frame, and the dude was super sketchy. But it was a good deal. So it's a good deal, and it had a title, so sign me up. But I snagged that thing a couple miles from my house, brought it home, and I guess that's when I got real serious about building what I have now. So I parked in the yard. I don't know, maybe 6 months before I really pulled it in the garage and started cranking on it. But yeah, man, I kept collecting parts. I ended up finding I think it was a 2003 Silverado. It was down in like Dinwiddie, Virginia. And a guy he was funny, man. He's an old country boy, and I hit him up, and the pictures of it was pretty tore up. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I was real drunk the other night, and I drove it down into ditch. And it's not worth fixing." I said, "Okay, all right." But I bought a freaking running and driving '03 Silverado with 110,000 miles for $900. I mean, I was like, you can't beat that. So I went down, I dragged that thing out of a farmer's field. There was like 10 inches of snow from the day before, but there was not a chance in hell that I was going to miss out on that deal.
Yep.
But dragged that thing home, and that's actually still the motor that's in it now, which, those of y'all who see me beat on it, I'm just as astonished that it's still alive.
That's because you left it. Did you leave it stock?
So I did not touch the rotating, like the long block. I didn't touch nothing below the heads. I've just got a cam, push rods, and springs in it. That's it.
Steve, you're a smart man. You're proving the fact of just leave it simple and it'll stay alive. Because everybody else, like we just spoke with, I'm a piece of shit for forgetting his name. The guy with the gray XJ.
Which one?
The one that was just saying that he has like the fucking one we just spoke to on episode 100. Thank you. He was saying that he's on his like third motor or whatever was that. So yeah, seems to be that just leaving it simple, leaving it kind of stock on the internals, and you're good to go.
Oh yeah, I mean it's I figure if it lasted 100,000 miles, I mean I could probably at least get 10,000 more.
Hey, that's all it needs.
Collecting parts for a hot minute, and then I was stupid because at that point I didn't retire my TJ. It was nice because I spent about a year building the YJ I've got now, but I've just got like a 1.5 car garage at the house, right? So I don't have no big shop or anything like that, so I don't have room for both, especially if I'm building a freaking rig from scratch, right? So if I was smart, I would have like cleaned up my TJ and all that exposed metal on my fenders and frame and suspension. I would have painted that before I put it outside. Living down in the salt air by the beach, it doesn't do too good. That thing turned into a rusty pile. It probably took me 2 months worth of work when I actually finished the YJ to go sell it, to get it actually presentable to clean up to sell it. But yeah, man, that's when I started working on the YJ. Freaking just completely gutted it, ripped every piece of plumbing, wiring, everything off. It cut all the suspension mounts off. Freaking, I hacked the front frame off in front of the freaking motor mounts. Hacked the rear frame off right under the freaking seats, the front seats. So there's only like 4 feet of freaking factory frame left on the bad girl. And I just started going at it, right? So I don't know how deep you want to get, but
as deep as you want to tell us, we're here for it.
Don't tease me with a good time.
Listen, I don't think we're gonna bottom that conversation out, so you're good.
Hell yeah. So cool, yeah, man. So I started working on it. I'm running a double triangulated 4-link out back. I worked with Rough Stuff to get all the stuff to go link it out, man. Those guys are awesome to work with. I don't think I know too many people that don't like them. But double triangulated 4-link in the rear. Surprisingly, I got a 3-link in the front. I think I was kind of stupid when I first started. I wanted to go 4-link, but my slow brain when it comes to fabricating at that time in my life, we couldn't really figure out a good way to make it fit, to get good clearance on the motor, get good suspension geometry, and get the travel and everything I wanted. So I ended up with a 3-link in the front. I mean, I don't really think it's held me back at all. But it was deciding between a triangulated 4-link that had absolutely terrible characteristics with a pinion angle changing like 10 degrees through travel and an all big old mess, or a 3-link that only had a 1 degree of caster pinion change through its full 16 inches of travel, and barely any side to side movement. I was like, okay, yeah, let's make this smart decision here.
So on that note, real quick,
Yeah.
I went through and did the numbers. My pinion rotates upwards towards the body about 5 degrees throughout its entire travel.
Yeah.
But it's not been the worst thing ever because it will not kill the front drive shaft.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because as long as it stays pointed, you run a double carbon shaft up front or a single joint?
I'm running a double front and rear.
Yeah.
And both of them point towards the pinion, or point the pinion towards the transfer case through their cycle.
Yeah.
I was more focused on the anti-dive and anti-squat numbers.
Yep.
But that was just my take on it. That it was a nice bonus to get that it would do that.
Yeah,
So-
mine's the opposite. I don't think it. I wish it moved a little bit because it doesn't, and my down travel is limited because the thing doesn't move, and I bind that bottom U joint out way too fast. I say way too fast. It's still like 11 inches of my functional 12 of travel that I want out of the 14-inch coil, but like it could be a little better.
Oh yeah. What joints are you running on the front of that thing?
The front is it's small. It's a 1310. It's tiny.
Okay.
So which is probably part of my problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Throw some 1350 and some 1410.
Yeah. I got it. I already had the shafts, so when I did all the work, I didn't want to. I'd already spent a shitload of money. I didn't want to spend a ton more. But now I'm watching. I just grenaded the rear shaft at Good Evening. Like
Twice.
Yeah.
The second one doesn't count. The first one was. I don't know what happened there. It just for context, the slip yoke on the drive shaft just exploded.
Yeah, like
the U joint went after on the other end. The U joint on the axle side totally fine, unscathed. That was a 1350. It didn't care, but it just shattered at the slip. I'm not sure how that happens, but it did.
When was that?
I don't know. When was that? Middle of October?
3 weeks ago.
Because I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, I broke my rear shaft the same exact way. I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen one break.
Yeah.
U joints are fine. 1410s are fine. Shaft was fine. The male portion of the slip sheared directly in half.
Sheared the female end of it, just clean down the center.
That's wild.
Weird.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that.
It beats me. They're sending me a new one. They were like, "Oh, you should probably upgrade the U joints." I was like, the U joints didn't explode. The fucking slip blew up. So
The U joints were just too strong.
well, the second one died, but that only because I was on the throttle afterwards while it was flying around. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure the force didn't help it, but it was weird.
The copious amounts of noise from your rear end wasn't concerning to you?
Oh, I didn't really hear it. It was third gear, rev limiter, low.
I like it. I like it.
It was going.
When it broke, it was one continuous action. It wasn't like oh, no, stop, get out of it. It was like there was one loud bang and it was done.
Yeah, it was weird because the video doesn't make it look like it was that intense either. I guess I don't know if that's it was weird.
Just a video thing. It was pretty wild to watch from outside because you got that thing almost fucking 12 o'clock.
It didn't look like
from
it.
Our angle.
Yeah, it didn't look like it from the video, but yeah, I guess so.
I was watching it from below, so that might have changed the perspective. But like,
you
went and just fucking stood on it. It picked the whole nose up. It hopped, and then it just fucking shit out everything in the rear end.
And here I thought I was clear because the front was up. I thought the front would be the hard part and the back would just climb. No, not at all.
He said not today.
Yep, pretty much.
Not today.
No, and it was wild because the rear hit the back of the ledge, and that is what lifted the front end up. The front end was already up there.
What do you mean?
So,
Anyways, yeah. Very, very sidetracked from our pinion angle talk of 3 links, which we started from. So let's go back there. You stuck with the 3 link because it was a better geometry.
Well, see, because I got this problem. It's called my right foot, right? And I definitely like to go fast. There may or may not have been nights at Harlan on some of the long service roads where I'm in third gear on 43s on the rev limiter at 7,000 RPM, hauling the mail through the trees. I think that's somewhere I ran the numbers. That's like 65 mile an hour. So, I'm a big caster angle guy. I think it's nice to keep it steady.
Yeah. Then you can steer and works as expected
and not die.
Yeah.
And not die.
so I gotta ask because I'm starting to get into some of the go fast stuff a little bit myself.
I like it.
What are your numbers looking like for the anti-squat and anti-dive? Because I would think that plays.
I'd be lying if I told you I know off the top of my head right now. I mean, it's been like 6 years since I built it. I've still got the freaking was it 4-link calculator, 3-link calculator from Pirate from back in the day?
Yeah.
I've still got that saved on my computer, but I'd be lying to you if I tell you I don't want to guess off the top of my head. But
when I started building my suspension, the front's at 122 for anti-dive, and the rear's sitting at a perfect 100.
Yeah.
But I noticed it started to kind of fuck me a little bit when I go fast because it's almost like there's a little bit of a delayed brake response.
Really? Because of the weight transfer?
So it
like fights against it.
So the rear is almost a true neutral, but the front, when you go to hit the brakes, it doesn't want to dive. It almost wants to lift a little bit.
Yeah, it pushes against it.
And it's a really weird thing because if you're driving it, like when I was using it as a daily, if you hit the brakes, the body would stay perfectly level on leafs. Now it kind of pushes the back down just ever so slightly. So if you go to lock the brakes up at like 65, it kind of hunkers down in the rear. It's a little weird. Just as far as the wheel input goes and everything.
Oh yeah, that doesn't give you a good seat in the pants feel.
No, it's a weird seat in the pants feel, but I did it a couple of times and then I started to be okay with it. So I just spent the rest of the weekend flying around in fifth and 4 low, and it was okay. I didn't kill Cody.
You're right.
Exactly, but did you die? No.
Nope.
That's a win. That's a big dub.
It's a massive dub, and I think maybe if I went with stiffer coilovers in the rear, it would help, but I don't know if I want to stiffen anything on that Jeep up. I kind of want to make it, I want to put air bumps up front, especially because I noticed today that it's ripping the shock mounts out, so,
who needs those?
Well, you should just, put coilovers up front and make it all remove that from the equation. Remove the shocks.
Didn't you rip your air bump off?
Yeah, but that's because I was dumb. It's fine. I fixed it now. It's not going to do that again.
Never say never.
It probably won't do it again.
Probably not. Maybe. Kind of, sort of. That's what.
So I also have to ask, what motor is in there that's holding up to 7,000 RPMs continuously at Harlan?
So it's a 5.3 LM7, man, out of an 03 Silverado. I was saying earlier, man, it's just cam springs and push rods. It started its life naturally aspirated. I always knew that I wanted to put a blower on it. So maybe about 2 years in, I threw a factory LSA supercharger. I picked up off Craigslist. Freaking up in New Jersey. That was an insane deal. I ended up driving basically through the night to go get it as soon as I found it. But Just running stock pulleys. I'm running a stock LSA lower pulley stock. I think it's a 3-inch upper pulley. That right around like 9.5 pounds of boost, 10 pounds of boost. She's pretty spicy. She's pretty spicy. But
quite good when you get on it. At least it did at Railbed, but I can't say that Paul wasn't influencing my thought process there.
I mean, I cannot confirm nor deny whether it was influencing mine as well, but no, it definitely sounds pretty freaking rowdy. I can't remember if I've changed the exhaust up since the last time I ran into you boys out there, but I think it's still the same setup. But yeah, no, I threw that blower on it, man. I had it dyno tuned locally. Guy Josh Tonsky, I don't know if y'all ever heard of him.
No.
So Josh, he's a local guy here, and he's down in like Newport News. He owns Horsepower Solutions, and they build some ridiculous cars over there. He's the go-to guy for any LS kind of any GM-based tuning down here. They were battling for the fastest stick shift Corvette in the world for a while. They're battling with Cletus and all those guys. But no, Josh is awesome. I had him tune it for me. I think I took it to him on a set of like 33s and put like 470 to the tire. So
fucking rowdy.
It's pretty rowdy. So yeah, so I put 470 to the wheel on a set of 33s and thinking probably crank horsepower makes somewhere around 575, just based on fuel consumption. But yeah, no, it's definitely plenty of power to break every piece in the drivetrain.
Yeah. I'm finding out very rapidly that a 4-liter can break most things. So I would imagine that, 3 times the horsepower would definitely.
Well, see, that's because your transfer case gearing is just too low. You got too.
No, I got 272s.
His isn't.
Oh.
Mine is.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
I got just a generic 231. Like, I sent my plan.
Yeah, but you say that, Luke, but you're also running like. I mean, you could beef up your drivetrain, and by drivetrain I just mean axles, because you're.
Are you running China axle shafts?
No, I'm running Ford's factories.
Oh, yeah. Then you are then. Okay, there's your problem then.
Well,
yeah. So I mean,
I sent a 231 Planetary to God. It's now in heaven.
Well, that's not hard. It's only 3 pinion. You got to get the 6 pinion out of the trucks.
The outer. It wasn't the inner. It was the outer.
Well,
so we can talk shit about the 3 pinion, but the outer Planetary is what failed on that fucking train.
Well, I don't know what to tell you there.
The jury's out on that. The jury's out. I'm gonna go with an inner Planetary gear failed and it wiped the outer.
Well, I hope not, because that fucking interplanetary is now inside the replacement.
Oh my god! I forgot.
Oh Jesus!
Things are getting weird. Quickly.
He has another case. Please take that fucker apart. That's.
My man pulled it apart, looked at it, and said, "Well, teeth are still there. Keep blasting."
Yeah, literally.
Keep blasting.
It was one of those, we're 14 hours into a disassembly and reassembly because I'm jacking the cross member off of the body to get it to fit back in, and I just don't fucking care and want it to go wheeling.
That's good. I like that.
So like there's, possibly a 2x4 still stuck in there, I can't remember, to keep the cross member in position off the floorboards. So like,
that's $20 it still is in there.
It probably is.
Well, the good news is when you got to change one out on the trail next time, you'll have that 2x4 to fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah, or in the middle of nowhere, surprise! I got my tools.
Or if the 2x4 breaks, you can just cut some of like a tree, just like hack up a log really quick and slide that in there, and then it's good to go.
Ooh, that's quality.
I fucking hate that cross member. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm just going to take a second and say fuck that thing, because it's literally ripping the fucking body apart at the, I welded this big wing to the stiffeners, and it's now peeling the stiffeners as it's blowing the frame in off of the body and ripping the body open. It's great.
So you mean to tell me the cross member you built is blowing the bottom out of your Jeep?
Literally.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. You played yourself.
It most definitely did.
He played himself when he bought a unibody vehicle, actually.
Yeah, I played myself when I did that, and then I played myself by like putting axles under it that don't care if I drive like an asshole every once in a while.
I can relate. I almost played myself when I bought my YJ. I was torn between building a an MJ or a YJ on tons, and
Yeah, you definitely didn't play yourself on that one. I'm now putting like bridges from my rock sliders to where it's ripping the cross member out. So, you know.
you shouldn't feel too bad because I'm sitting here looking at my frame rails right now, and the bad boys look like a rainbow. So, they're still pretty straight, but they're a little deformed to say the least.
Yeah, that shit'll happen though.
Too much
we were
ripping.
we were talking with Jason Ramsey and Sam McIntyre. They both said that like chassis all have a life, and
Oh
it
yeah.
is.
I mean, they get to the point where she's too beat to keep going, and we'll pull all the good stuff out and put it in something else.
Exactly. So let's see. We've kind of covered how you got.
I got my question.
Oh, feel free, Cody.
You had reds on it at one point.
Oh yeah.
Were like the intentions were to keep the reds on it, or did you know from the start, like, okay, I got my hands on some reds, but SXs are the way to go?
No, right. So when I first built it, I built the whole rig for 30 knots. I would love to build it for 42 reds. It was nice back then, 6-7 years ago, that 42 reds were, relatively affordable in the grand scheme. But I didn't want to go to a 20-inch wheel, right? So I went with 39 reds. And I built the whole rig for 39 reds, and that was just based on Mount Wheeling, man. I'd never seen rigs hook up like rigs on reds, and y'all know this. Anybody that wheels have seen them things, man. Those things are alien, right? It don't make no sense. It can be sloppy mud, it can be snow, it can be rain. If you put them on rocks, don't put them in the mud. But if you get them on a rock and you heat them bad boys up, you're either gonna break your rig or you're moving. It's one or the other, right? So I built it for 39 reds. And I ran those reds until they were bald. Absolutely bald. There were some points where like they weren't showing cords yet, and don't get me wrong, that was a bald red that's party time, right? That is party time. Them things hooked up like no other, right? But the problem was, y'all ever heard of them shrinking?
What? They shrink over time?
Shrinking.
I've never heard of this.
Shrinking.
You might as well put them in a cold swimming pool because you had shrinkage. All right. So I think I ran those reds for like 4 years, and they were completely bald. I mean, they worked great. You put them in rocks, they worked. But I had a set of 37-inch MTRs. I still had my TJ then. I hadn't sold it yet. And it was on 37 MTRs. They were the same height. They're identical.
I believe that though, because like the whole carcass on a red, when they're new, is basically like the tread. If you were to take the tread off of it, you get down to like a 37.
Yeah. So that makes sense, right? So I got to the point where I was basically running 37s, and here's where insert all the hatred from the West Coast boys. East Coast wheeling, you got mud, dirt, rocks, like in hillsides, right? I don't have giant sandpaper rocks out in the middle of the desert where I'm going to be worried about hitting a cactus. But I was dragging diffs over everything, so I wanted more ground clearance. I absolutely love the reds. I got nothing bad to say about it. And I wanted more ground clearance. We pretty much wheel exclusively East Coast. The farthest we've been is like Middle Tennessee. Would love to go farther west.
Windrock. AOP or Windrock?
AOP is 100% my favorite place. Period.
AOP.
That place is great. But we've been to Windrock too and all that. But nah, man, East Coast. I went with the 43s. I went with the sticky 43s. I know what the internet says about reds versus SXs and all this and that, and I gotta tell you, I went with the 43s. I do not regret it one bit. It was still right along the lines that I don't want to go buy a set of 20-inch wheels. It's not even just buying 20-inch wheels. I want more sidewall. I don't want 3 more inches of rim that I'm just going to bend. I want more sidewall. So, got the 43 SXs. I love them. I love them. They work great out here on the East Coast. There hasn't been an obstacle I've come across that I ran on Reds that I couldn't make up on 43s just as easily. On the SXs just as easily.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, no, I mean, they are. We beat the dog shit out of these tires, and they just work. I think I've made a few believers out of some of the boys I wheel with all the time. You know, we still got a couple Trep guys out there.
Oof.
I don't know about all them.
The actual trips are like, I don't know. It's weird because the biggest thing I've heard recently is like the lateral grip. They just don't. Apparently, they can't do it right. So if you're on something sideways, I guess they slide. I don't know. I have a set of they're 37s, but I've got a set of the sticky treps that I'd love to run, but I just I can't or not that I can't, I could, but I've got 40s on it now. If I go down to a 37, I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot, regardless of whether it's a sticky or not, I think. So it sucks because I want to use them. Also, sorry if you can hear that squeak. You guys probably can't, but people in the recording might be able to hear the squeaky toy going crazy in the other room.
Was your dog blasting a toy or something?
Yeah. My roommate's dog is tearing something apart. He just got a bunch of new stuff. But yeah, I don't know. That I had really good luck with their DOT. I've had really good luck with their DOTs so far. I had the Trep radials that are kind of notoriously, I don't know, people don't like them or dislike them. They're just sort of an tire. I liked them a lot.
That's what all the Ultra 4 boys run. I think
really
at least 90% of the Ultra 4 guys who run traps, they're not running sticky traps.
Well, yeah, I don't think you can in most of the competitive stuff, right? It's got to be DOT in like the lower classes.
Well, I think like 4400, you run whatever you want.
Yeah. But I mean, like if you actually look at if you look at the lower classes, it has to be a DOT and it's got to be a 37. And I don't know. I blew plenty of sidewalls on those things, but they seem to hold up pretty decent. And I'm running the Razors now, which I've always heard good things about, and yeah, they've performed really well. So I don't know. I'm a Maxxis guy. I like them, but I definitely don't know if the Treps are just a weird tire. Sort of what I'm getting here is it's.
And I got a couple guys I wheel with regularly that run them, and I mean their rigs perform. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they should do more.
Yeah,
but
for the price, probably.
Yeah, I'm coming from Reds, and I mean I've seen Reds run circles around rigs, and then go into these SXs. You know, I'm surprised when I watch boys on Treps. Insert hate comments here, but I mean I really don't care what people run. It's not my rig, so if you want to run Treps, be my guest.
The only thing that I'll throw back in there is there have been a couple of times, and it's been very rare, but I've watched rigs on Treps just walk over the rigs on Reds. And generally it's when it's wet and the rocks are clean.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen Reds do better.
You gotta get them Reds hot, man. Gotta get them hot. Spool them up. What's the? I've only been to Rouse a handful of times, and really I haven't been back for a couple of years. Just as far as it is, I'd rather go somewhere else. But what's the big rock slab they have? Is that Trail 5?
There's two of them.
Trail 5's a big one, and
Jotter's Way.
Jotter's Way, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran Trail 5 hill climb. It was 7 degrees outside with 6 inches of snow on the ground with 39 Reds, and my rig walked right up it.
That's impressive.
I mean, I had to get on there and I had to burn them down and get them hot, but it literally walked right up it.
Wow.
I was frozen, but it worked out.
But your tires were warm.
Yeah, you know, it's like this is not good. BFG does not recommend this. I guess I gotta apologize to Marvin for for talking about how much I love SXs. I mean,
Who's Marvin?
Yeah, why is Marvin going to care?
Them Flex Rocks rollovers guys?
Oh,
yeah.
I
don't follow.
You don't follow
They
them.
don't care about us, so you're good.
Nah, those guys are cool. Those guys are all right with me.
We've talked to a few people that go and hang out with those guys, do different wheels with them or wheeling events with them, but I've never really followed much of their stuff, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I may or may not have, but I'm not at liberty to speak about it for a couple more weeks.
So is one of our other guests. He has to wait. Actually, I think he's only got one more week, and then he can start showing his pictures and shit like that.
Which one?
Northeast. I'll give you that.
Northeast.
There was a 24 Hellenbeck up in the Northeast.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think the location. Actually, I think he spoke about it on the podcast.
Nah, they haven't dropped it yet.
Okay, never mind. We're gonna shut this down before we get a a lawyer.
I had one of my boys' weddings that weekend. I was gonna go to that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make it out, but no, we did one of their competitions here. They just dropped last week, the AOP thing. So yeah, so that was
I haven't seen
that was a good time. So I think that's going to start dropping here in a couple of weeks. I think November 20th. That first video drops. I think there's 2 episodes. So
hell yeah,
cool.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask my notorious tire question since we were on the topic of tires. For DOT tires, what's your most favorite tire and what's the worst tire?
So that's a hard question for me, right? So when you're looking at DOT tires on an off-road rig, the only DOT tire I've ever run on an off-road rig was on my TJ with 37 MTRs, right? So I really don't have a lot of personal experience. I'll tell you this, it's sure as hell isn't Patagonia's. But I don't think I could honestly answer that question based on personal experience. I really haven't run any DOT tires other than, my MTRs worked well. I'll never preach them as the best thing under the sun. But
You must have gotten a good batch.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Well, I think I cut 2 sidewalls. I cut 2 sidewalls on them. And
bad batch.
Bad vibes. So, and maybe y'all are onto something because I was able to find. I was looking for 2, and I found a guy down in selling 4. He was asking $800 for 4 of them, and I was like, dude, I need 2. I'll make it worth your while. I won't even haggle 400. And he was like, no, I'm not separating them. And then he called me back 3 days later. He's like, will you give me 400 for all 4? And I was like, yes.
Oh no, that's scary. Something's wrong with those.
Hey, they worked out. I've still got those 437 MTRs in my backyard on a set of 2500 Ram wheels. Those are my street tires for the watch it.
There you go. Shit, that's fucking cool though.
What about y'all? Y'all like any DOT stuff?
So for me personally, I have jerked off General Tire enough, and we still don't have a sponsorship, so I can't talk about too much now. Now, personally, their General Tire's MTX I have found really, really, they're amazing for me personally. I love them off road. They're pretty good in the deeper snow. Obviously, all mud terrains suck in thin snow on the road, but off road wise, I've cut 1 sidewall and it was my own stupidity. It wasn't even the tire's fault, and these things have hooked up in some of the most ridiculous shit that I've seen. So it's definitely up there for me on those.
I got one buddy who used to run Generals and he loved them. He didn't have. The rig, I think they were 33s, but for what the rig was, it was a TJ on 33s with I think it was it had a long arm lift on it. But they did fine. I didn't have no problem watching that thing get around. It did what it should have done.
My only gripe is that they do not sell bigger than a 37 and they do not make a sticky. So sadly, once I go bigger than that, which honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to plan to buy a set of 37-inch DOTs. That kind of sounds stupid to me. But after my 35s, I will no longer be able to go with those tires. So it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A 37 DOT on on a on one of the lower level competition rigs would probably be pretty cool if they're not doing it already. I don't know if I've ever seen one running a general grabber. Now that I think about it.
They do a lot out west. They actually, they enjoy. I believe it's their Baja tire that is
Yeah.
like supposedly a comp tire, but you can only get it if you're a part of.
those.
Correct. You said, but you said that they were an old pair, weren't they? They weren't like.
No, when I got them, they were new.
But you've also
it
said
was
you
a
didn't like
while
them.
ago.
Yeah, well, they suck
I
around
didn't
here.
like them. And it was just around here on dry rock or wet rock. They were great, but anywhere else, they left me hanging. Like, for example, if we were wheeling Kish's property, um, your rig would have walked over that rig all
Wow.
day, every day. But like Kish, correct me if I'm wrong here. If we could get it into a rocky section where I wasn't fighting the dirt, they would be good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the traction was there on actual rock, but the minute you introduced any kind of like dead leaf or grass or dirt or anything really, fucking the wind blew on the rock the wrong way, you'd lose.
Yeah. And they were really good at breaking 44 shafts.
Yeah.
That was their specialty, is they would blow the whole outer hub assembly off of a 44 every about 6 months.
Yeah,
That's pretty long.
It's pretty
That's pretty long for a 44, boy. Otherwise, you're not wheeling hard enough.
I mean, we're
At
talking
that
about
time, he probably
35.
wasn't.
We're talking about 35s, though. We're not talking 37s. So, to do that level of carnage to the hub and the spindle, for some reason, they like to attack the spindle. I don't have a good explanation on that.
It's small and non-flexible. That is why.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were straight up not having a good time.
No, they weren't. But to go back to the actual question that you asked, I will stand for Nittos and I will stand for Maxis.
Okay.
I
If you stand
run
for Nittos, what do you think about K-Specs?
So I can't tell
The
if I got
ever-elusive K-Specs.
The what?
Yeah.
Ever-elusive. He's in.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. That's exactly what I call them.
I
things are
want to
super
get a
exclusive.
set of known K-specs. I have tires that I got through a vendor of theirs. They have K on the sidewall, but they're also DOT rated, so I can't
Nice.
tell if they are Ks or not.
That
Which, if
seems
you listen to
frustrating.
100, I'm pretty sure we talk about that a little more in depth. They're not K-specs. There was just like a weird point in time where they were still putting K-spec on like the DOT ones or something. Doesn't.
I think they got bamboozled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, everybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you just gotta. It's the K's on it, so they can charge an extra $50, right?
There you go.
And then you
I
can.
got one
you can
buddy
highlight
that we
it.
ride with that runs K-Specs, and thank God he just traded them for 43 SXs. He's got a brand new set, and I got to tell you, they are some thick, juicy Latinas on there. And oh my God! But no, I mean his K-Specs, I got to tell you, they impressed me. I'd always thought about running them, and he actually he's the only dude I know that has them that I actually have wheeled with. I mean, I've seen plenty of people with them on the interwebs, but he got them from Eric Miller. So I was like, he drove up to his shop, picked them up. So I have confidence that they were real, and they worked.
Is that the TJ that is in a few of your photos across your?
Yeah, the silver one.
Yeah.
That's my boy James. Oh yeah, that dude.
Oh, is that
dude.
the guy that rolled on railbed like 3 times?
No, that's
Okay,
The other
different guy.
That's my boy Switch.
Okay, yep.
No, that dude is an absolute madman. He's a madman because he's a lunatic.
Yeah, literally.
Do y'all remember that? He said somebody
I do.
turned my fan on. I'm a blast it.
So, little outsider's perspective. I know it's different from the tire talk, but when we pulled up, that was our introduction to Southern night wheeling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys were like the first group that we came across while night wheeling. And that was the first time that we had went night wheeling. So, yeah,
You
that
pulled
was
up
a
on us.
wild fucking night.
I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was great.
We're absolutely blasting music with some beat to shit rigs, like hitting the waterfall for no reason over and over and over.
The same thing happened every time. Every rig. It just great. It was a good time.
Well, I'm glad I was able to pop your night wheeling cherry in the south with some absolutely ignorant activities. Dude, how many rigs did we flip that night? I know Switch flipped his like
Are we?
times.
I mean, if we're counting rigs, how many are we counting? Flops versus rig?
Flops,
Like
flips,
total. I mean, it had to be 1, 2.
Switch had 3.
Yeah,
Curtis
3.
had 1.
Jason.
I can't remember if
Jason
I
did.
think he did once.
Yeah,
he did once.
Yeah, because he couldn't hit reverse because he's got the he didn't finger bang his transmission quick enough or something.
Whack.
I don't
He
think
needs to get his gym and get his finger game up.
Yep, pretty much. You gotta be quick with those hands.
Quicker than that now.
I don't. Was there anybody else? I feel like there was.
I think Virginia TJ got real fucking close. Like, put on the tree at Railbed, but was able to back out of it. So I don't know if that counts or not.
Yeah, that's my boy James. He's on Case Specs.
Yeah, oh, he was there. Okay.
VA Silver TJ. Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, you can't call him VA Silver TJ. That's the Sack Master.
Okay, the Sack Master.
Oh yeah. Don't get it twisted.
Listen, man, I'm just going off of the Instagram handles because it's like, oh, hey, I watched this dude flip his shit at Railbed. Oh, hey, I watched this dude flip his shit at AOP. I know him.
Yeah, I think it was just 5.
Only 5.
Yeah, just 5 within like 20 minutes.
And that's the best part. I mean, that was our night one. That was night one. We just drove 13 hours there. Unload the trailer. Let's go destroy our rigs.
Yeah, I mean that's.
We were in a very similar boat.
I mean, that's what we came there for.
Yeah.
And we still wheeled for 4 more days. So what's the problem?
So let's dive into the whole burnout thing with your.
Oh boy.
So why? I guess is just the biggest thing. Like we can get into the most recent one afterwards, but like I know you have the Capri. I know you like. Is it a Caprice? Is how you actually pronounce it, or is it a Capri?
It's the Caprice.
Okay, it's a Caprice part of it. I didn't know how you properly pronounce it. So I know you were drag racing it for the event, but what made you go, you know what I need to do? Beat on my shit box but on even smaller tires.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask all of you a question. I'll even ask this robot thing recording us a question. Do y'all like to eat red meat?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Do y'all like to drink cold beer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all enjoy fine liqueurs?
Yeah.
Not particularly. Every time I do that, I break my rig.
All right, leave. Y'all love beautiful women?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do y'all like bald eagles?
Yeah.
Every once in a blue moon.
All right, but we're going down a great path, boys. Do you like burnouts?
Yes.
See, right? Every question I just asked you is synonymous with do you like burnouts? Right? Yep. So we've been doing these damn burnout competitions. It probably really started on the street next to my house. I'm actually shocked my neighbors don't hate me. But what I found is that I frequently do burnouts on the street next to my house, and my neighbors do them as well. And it's gotten to the point where like everyone in the neighborhood knows people do burnouts on the street. So like at all times of the night, people just show up and start doing burnouts. I don't even know who they are. But as far as like the burnout competition goes, man, like so, I don't really watch TV no more. I mean, I do live sports and all that stuff, right? I watch all the football games and NASCAR and stuff like that because I'm a gosh dang hillbilly. But I've been following. I got a bunch of YouTube channels I subscribe to, and I've been following the freaking Cletus channel since for years, for the inception, right? And I mean, who doesn't love a good burnout? And when they bought the Freedom Factory down in Florida, it's actually pretty dope because my whole family lives down there. I got my brother and his wife, my parents. They all live down there for like an hour and a half from the track. So, since I'm a terrible neighbor and I disrupt the peace and scare the children here, I said, man, the Jeep's different, right? It's like, you got all these people doing these burnout competitions. A lot of people got purpose-built cars. A lot of people down there in Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, all the normal stuff, right? Like, I'm down here in this piece of shit Jeep, beat to hell. And surprisingly, there's a big difference between a standing burnout and then ripping like a skid bed burnout for like 2.5 minutes. So it was 100% a learning curve. Like, I thought it was just something super fun to get into. Great excuse to take the Jeep down to Florida. Great excuse to go see the fam. Great excuse to go hang out with, Cleater and all the boys down there. So I got into it about 2 years ago. We've done 2 competitions at the Freedom Factory. And then they rented out Bristol Motor Speedway here this year, a couple months ago. So we got into all of those competitions. And I'd tell you it's been one hell of a learning curve because, there's a giant difference between doing a burnout for 10 seconds in the street next to your house versus trying to maintain a burnout at 6,500 RPM for 2 minutes, right? So I learned a ton with the rig there, but it's just fun. I mean, there's no reason that I can think of not to, and I'm sure there's 100,000 reasons any responsible human can tell me I should not try and destroy my rig on the burnout pit and send a rod to Kim Jong-un. But
so like I used to go to Thunder in Muncie, and
okay.
What was it? It was the Diesel Nationals at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So what the cops used to do is they would direct us all to the industrial zone over in I forgot the name of the town, but there was like this one industrial zone where it was this, I think it was 1,000 foot by 1,000 foot box, and
That's giant.
it was fucking massive, dude. You'd have like 3 or 4 trucks in there doing burnouts at the same fucking time, trying not to hit each other. So I totally get that shit. It was wild watching all of that stuff go on, and I'm amazed that your rig holds up to 2.5 minutes at rev limiter for that, or like doing that shit. And I also have to ask the stupid question: how do you not hit the barriers? Because I would imagine at some point you can't see.
Yeah, so that's definitely, I mean, not trying to sound like a conceited jackass, but that's definitely the driver's skill piece of it, right? So,
It's
we've
not a
done.
conceited jackass move to say that, though.
Well, that's fair.
Like,
That's fair. I still, I don't want to be the guy out here saying I drive better than you, but there's a ton of badass dudes that compete at all those events, and there's the guys that can drive the living hell out of their cars, rigs, trucks, whatever. So like the first 2 events that we did down in Florida, they were a great time. We did a burnout, but like we didn't put it all together. We couldn't keep the motor alive for as long as it takes because they judge those competitions based off like 3 factors. It's like driver skill number 1, that's like using the whole pad, not crashing into the wall, coming damn close to the wall, right? Things like that. Then it's like smoke production, and then you've got to blow the tires up. If you don't blow the tires up, you ain't gonna win. That's it, right? You have to blow the tires off the damn thing to have any chance of winning. And we didn't have it all together. We just went down there and we thought we had it all together, but we learned a shit ton in the first 2. And we came back to Bristol here a couple months ago, and when I go do the burnouts, man, I delete the rear brakes. I only got front brakes only. I run like sets of like 32s on it. I just buy stock tires off Marketplace wherever I can. But I'll tell you, the pad that they had at Bristol set up, I don't know if y'all watched the video, saw the arrangement. It's the smallest, most intricate pad that Cletus and those guys have ever run at one of their competitions. Right. And there were 70 cars there. There were 40 in our class. And I think from talking to Cletus after the fact and all that, because I got to tell you, there's a there was a guy with like a Ford Lightning, and I don't know exactly what motor was in it. It had zoomies through the hood, and it's funny you talk about diesel nationals and all that. They do like diesel nationals up in New York and stuff like that. But he just won that competition up there, but he came in second to us. That dude absolutely beat down a badass burnout. And I think the difference between him and me and getting the win there was the fact that he smacked the wall like 4 or 5 times. Right. So no, that
Yeah,
was cool.
that was one of the nicer parts about the diesel, or when we would go up and do that shit, is you couldn't hit the wall. It was such a large pad that you could spin the truck out, and generally even then you were clear of like other rigs. I'm not gonna say people didn't get shit damaged, but
Yeah. Yeah, but that's that's the thing that Cletus and all those guys are going for, man, because they y'all ever heard of Summernats?
Yes, yeah, down in Australia.
Right? So that's what
Yep.
they're trying to mirror with the Freedom Factory. They're trying to bring Summernat style burnouts to America. Right. And they got Killer B is one of the cars that they done bought from Castlemaine Rod Shop down there. And then they built their third gen Camaro. What is that, Toast? They're
Yep.
both freaking massive, Castlemaine Rod Shop, big blocks, 1,500, 2,000 horsepower cars, ripping, 200-mile-an-hour wheel speed burnouts. Just absolutely killing it, right? So down on Australia, Summernats, man, their pads are tiny. They're intricate pads. They're tiny. It's those guys. It's rip the living hell out of your car. Don't hit the wall. Right. So that's what they're trying to bring here. But
And it's only 60 seconds. Your run is only 60 seconds. I remember watching that video, and the craziest thing to me was that these guys literally they adjust their rev limiter and their horsepower and they literally go through so many different tire types to find the perfect ratio that their tires will pop exactly at 60 seconds. Like, that's the fucking coolest thing to me.
Oh yeah. No, it's awesome. Like it's so freaking cool. And it's just, and I'll tell you, like, the main reason why we do it, right, is like, you spend all this time. I mean, I've got thousands of hours working on my rig, right? Y'all know the deal, right? It's just when you first built it, maintaining it, wheeling it, and how often do you actually wheel, right? It's like, I don't know about y'all, I got a day job, right? So I'd love to wheel more often. I live in an area where the closest spot I go is 5 hours away, right? Most of the places we go are like 8, 9, 10 hours. So it's like finding other uses for your rig is like 100% let's go, right? Because, I got tags on it, surprisingly. So, you can catch my fat ass in the Taco Bell drive through every now and then, chop it away. But, just finding other cool stuff to do with it, right? Like, I honestly, next time we go to Bradenton, I'm going drag racing.
You're going to drag race this thing?
Hell yeah.
4-wheel drive?
Yes. I'm going to put a set of 33s on it. We're going to run, I don't know if I run a quarter. Full Hydro's a little sketchy at 100 mile an hour.
No, you gotta do those slicks. Remember when fucking Whistling Diesel did that
yes.
with his dude? You gotta get some of those on that thing. That thing would be nuts.
y'all ever met Cody?
No.
Cody is the coolest dude. He's so nice. Yeah, we've met him down at the Freedom Factory at events like that. Like, he is so down to earth, such a chill dude. Like, his videos are absolutely insane. They're so, like, you can't stop watching, right, when you start seeing that stuff. Some people hate him. Some people love him. But no, he's such a nice dude. We've met him down at the Freedom Factory events, and he was cool as shit, man. He checked out the Jeep and all that. And it's like, well, that's different. But yeah, I've been looking for slicks. My problem is I haven't had the balls to pony up to go get some, right? Right. But yeah, dude, these burnout competitions is just something fun to do. I mean, Bristol was freaking amazing. I mean, 1:40, I had a set of brand new tires on the back of it, and we blew them completely off it. And then once I blew the rear tires off, I put it in 4-wheel drive. We started doing cyclones until we hit the wall. So
I was just about to ask about you popping it into 4-wheel. How much fucking adrenaline was going through you that you were like, you know what? Pop it in 4-wheel. Let's try to smoke these fronts off. Like, that's sick.
So I'll tell you what's actually like fucking crazy is that at all of the Freedom Factory events we've been to, there's been no time limit, right? There's been no time limit with your burnout. It's just go do whatever you want for as long as you want, make it cool, right? If it's not cool, save yourself the embarrassment, get off the pad, right? And I respect that. And, they tell everybody in the driver's meeting, and that's true. It's like, if it's just not happening, get off the pad. And I respect that 100%. So, like, there were times in the Freedom Factory, we go down there, we play around with 4-wheel drive a little bit, rip some cyclones. Like, I'm not going to blow the tires off it in 4-wheel drive to a cyclones. It's cool. Y'all ever seen that Ryan Hoff dude that messes with the Hoonigans all the time out in Cali? He was just at Seaman, that red Bronco too.
Does he also have the 6.0 that was in there? Because that was a fucking wild video.
Which 6.0?
I
We're
forget
talking about.
exactly what the guy's name was, but he brought his tow rig into the pad
He
there.
might have, because he hurt the motor and blew the transmission up. He might have. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
brought a Ford 6-liter F-250 in there and was hooning that shit
it could be him. I haven't seen it.
ridiculously. Yeah, it
No,
was
but
like oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I've talked to Ryan a bunch, man. He's cool as shit, and that dude absolutely kills it, right? He's always in full drive. He's got a big motor in that thing. I think he's making like 700 horsepower. But like, I mean, it takes a robust rig to blow the tires off it, mess around in 4-wheel drive. So
So
at Bristol,
the 6-liter, his name was Buddy Brian Moore. Is that who you're speaking about?
no, that's
It's
not him.
the ProCharged, turbocharged 6-liter
Yeah.
Power Stroke.
That sounds extremely rowdy.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a different guy, and he did it in their old lot too when they were still doing it at the
The
donut
burn yard, the
shop.
OG burn yard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is an extended cab, like I don't know, probably 6.5 foot bed. So like this is a long girl to be swinging around in this tiny parking lot. That's pretty impressive.
That's
It's
awesome.
fucking rowdy, and he's got the rev limiter on that thing turned up, so it sounds almost like a fucking gas job.
Oh yeah, no, I remember watching all those videos, man. Of them, they had that burn yard right next to that school, man. They had the cops coming every time. Them boys are savages.
Yeah,
But,
not even to mention that they were next to the highway too. So when these guys were doing, like, the fact that they even survived that long at that shop blows my mind. That somehow they were able to smoke out a highway and a school for that long without getting shut down. It's pretty fucking impressive.
no, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, so at Bristol, they had a strict time limit, right? It was a strict, each vehicle, you got 2 minutes. That's it. And that was purely based on, a lot of that is based on, number one, they're renting the facility, right? So they got a time frame they got to work in, which is, I got to tell you, if you ask me, it's absolutely freaking insane that they rented Bristol Motor Speedway. That place is absolutely massive, and nothing but respect to the staff at Bristol. We met a bunch of their media directors and stuff like that. Those folks over there are awesome. They were all about it. They loved it. They supported it. They were taking pictures of all the vehicles out there competing it, and can't wait till next year when we do it again. But I knew that there wasn't a chance in hell that I was going to blow the tires off it, because I mean I was there. I was trying to win. Now, you don't enter that without trying to win, especially winner took home a $5,000 purse from that. Right, so there was not a chance in hell I was going to blow the rear tires off and mess around in 4-wheel drive. So number one goal, blow the damn tires off this thing. Number two goal, put it in 4-wheel drive, start acting reckless. Right. So yeah, I mean, once I blew the rear tires off it, 100%. You know, it was juiced up. It's crazy, man. There were probably 25,000 people in the stands. I mean, it was packed out. They sold like the whole backstretch. It was pretty impressive. Wow. I mean, when you look at, I mean, Cletus and their camp, they have an absolutely amazing following for their YouTube subscribers, right? They got 3-4 million followers, something like the subscribers to the channel. Like, they have an absolutely massive following, and it's all so many cool people, right? Like, you know, because they had the pits open and all that, and so many people were coming through checking out the cars. Everybody was so cool and nice and looking into it. And we've seen nothing but that down at the Freedom Factory and Bradenton Motorsports Park right next door down in Florida, and same thing in Bristol. But it's like, it's absolutely insane because you're literally ripping this rig, and you can hear the fans over the goddamn motor. It's at almost 7,000 RPM.
Wow.
Right? You know,
crazy.
I got an MSD two-step box on it. I had set to like 6,200 RPM. And you can hear the people screaming over it. It's like, this is like, I can't even imagine what it is in a NASCAR race when there's 100,000 people there, right? So, yeah, it was 100%. It was 100% in the plan. If the motor lives long enough to blow the rear tires off it, we're putting it in 4-wheel drive, and we're gonna see what happens, right? You know, when I did the
only with front brakes too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
It's funny, man, because you got all these cars out there, right? And I don't hate them one bit, man. I'm all about the car scene. I've got the Caprice. I'm working on that. We're going to put a big blower on that too. But it's like, you know, when a car hits a Jersey barrier, you're going to tear that thing up, right? Me, when I hit a Jersey barrier, the nice thing about a Jersey barrier on an asphalt pad is that the Jersey barrier moves, right? You know, when I'm out in the woods and we're blasting this thing, on a big old trail on a big ledge or something like that, and I've got rims smacking rocks, the rocks don't move, right?
They don't.
Yeah,
And they
Jersey
don't
barrier is
fuck.
nothing in comparison
Yeah.
if you're looking at it like that.
Oh yeah, no. So it was funny, man. So I slapped the shit out of that thing. Like, did your rig all right? I was like, yes. That's fine. I mean, it bent the shit out of the rim.
This is Tuesday. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. We're freaking blasting. It's fine, right? Yeah.
So I've got 2 questions from this, right?
I might have a few answers for you.
So we're gonna start with a technical one.
Okay.
What
Fine.
is done as far as tuning goes to keep that motor alive? And then the second question is for after that, and that's, do you find that being in front of a large group of people makes you more likely to do stupid shit, or do you do more stupid shit when you're around your buddies?
Okay, those are fair. So we'll start number one. So I definitely have been trying to kind of walk my way into tuning and learn more about tuning. I've done some basic things on my Caprice, with HP Tuner Suite and things like that. I've got in there and I messed with a couple little things. I've changed rear gears. I've messed with rev limiters, but I'm by no means any kind of a tuning expert. It's actually something that I definitely want to go like kind of take some classes on and get better on, because that's a pretty cool skill, and I think for the hobbies that I'm into, it's definitely worth learning. I just haven't gotten there yet. But like I was saying, man, it's got a really safe tune on it. Josh Tonsky over at Horsepower Solutions in Newport News, he took care of me on it. We were up against a tight deadline, I think, when I first put the blower on, and he hooked it up, man. The thing was on the damn rollers at 11:30 at night. He was getting it, got it right. And typically, like cold start tuning, they would do the next day, and I was going to Harlan the next day. So I was like, sorry, I got to take it. But I linked back up with him and before Bristol, and he got it back right, and he did a bunch of work on it. But it's really not an aggressive tune. It's a really safe tune for the boost level and power level I'm at. I'm running twin GSL 392 Walboro pumps through, I think I'm only running like a dash 6 feet. But when you're looking at stock LSA boost levels, she's got plenty of fuel in it, and it's got I wouldn't say a conservative tune as far as timing goes, but it's got a real solid tune in it. Like I said, those guys know what they're doing over there. So that's how she stays alive. One of the things I did do new for Bristol, though, to help me out, because I was having issues with air intake temperatures, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, you got a freaking positive displacement blower.
I know where this is going.
Oh yeah, and you're making freaking AITs through the roof, right? I'm at 6,200 RPM on the chip, and it's 6,200 RPM on an MSD two-step box, which is also extremely spicy. Highly recommended. We're just kind of mixing and dumping fuel fireballs out the tailpipe. That's exactly what I recommend for the longevity of your vehicle. But so one of the things that we did new for Bristol, which actually is sitting right next to me now, it's doing a great job of holding my empty cold beer cans up. I've got like one of them like Ozark trail coolers with fake Yetis because I ain't got the balls to spend money on it. Shout out to my boy Fred for gifting me this cooler when I built the Jeep. I'm happy to admit that my fuel cell and everything in the back of my rig is literally positioned around fitting this cooler. It's pretty terrible. So what I did was I went on McMaster and I got 2 bulkhead fittings to support. I think I'm running 3/4 hoses for all my intercooler setup. My normal setup behind my seat, I have an intercooler, an air-to-water intercooler in the blower, right? It's factory air-to-water intercooler that they have in CTSV Cadillacs and Z01 Camaros. I've got I think it's a 2.5 liter reservoir, the Amazon special, that's mounted like direct. Of course, we're not here for fancy parts. We're here for parts that work. But I got that mounted behind my driver's seat, and so the normal system trail rided. You're looking at a beat down on the trails like 30 seconds. Right, we're talking 30 seconds
Really
before.
good beat down. That's
Exactly.
like you're getting it.
Exactly. You're either lost at that point, like I've completely lost where I'm at, your rig's broken, or you've made it up.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're run out.
Yep.
Right? And at that point I'm like, please help me, Tom Cruise. But so what I've been doing for these burnout competitions because that it just doesn't support the longevity when you're talking a minute and 40 seconds, 2 minutes on the chip, right? So I was like, how do I do something to really help this out? So I started doing a little science in my driveway, and I emptied out my fridge, the ice box in my fridge, and I put every single ice cube I could put in that little 2.5 liter reservoir I could. And I found that, I mean, it was a 95-degree day, and it dropped my IATs that idled at like an extended full temperature idle. It dropped them down to like 70 degrees when they'd normally be around like 95, 100, right? Like I'm typically trail riding on a hot day. My IATs are around ambient. If you're riding for a while, beating on it, you might see 120, something like that. But once you get out on the burnout pad, man, you're just sitting on the chip, and especially the hot, humid Florida sun and weather, it's like it is not uncommon to see IATs 200 degrees, man. Freaking, if they get hotter than that, and the computer's just pulling time at the motor, it's like, please don't die. Save yourself, save our souls. So what I done did was I took this big old Ozark Cherry cooler I got sitting in the back. I put some bulkhead fittings on the top and bottom of it, and was able to put almost 35 pounds of ice in it and about 4 gallons of water. And, when you look at it, I think it's a 2.5 gallon per minute pump, 2 minutes absolutely ripping. It might cycle the entire volume twice on a good day. I had IITs down here freaking 45, 50 degrees, right? And I
Crazy.
oh yeah, it was absolutely nuts. The motor never pulled power out of Bristol. Absolutely never. It was like, when we were down in Florida, it was very evident. I started in third gear and I dropped down to second gear, and next thing I'm in first gear, and she's spitting coolant, and she's very upset. So it helped a lot. I mean, I got air intake temperatures ice freaking cold for almost 2 minutes straight. Blow the damn tires off it, right? So
man, that's just wild that it changed it that much. But I guess if you're putting that much cold water into the system, it makes sense.
I'll tell you the big difference was getting the cold start tuning right, and that was no fault of the guy at Horsepower Solutions. That was just because the nature of me going on a trip, I had to take it before they did that, right? So it actually really sucked. Because for like 2 years, I had to let the rig warm up. And it was probably like that when I saw you in Hawkland, where you had to let the sumbitch idle for 10 minutes before you could drive it, right? Because the cold tables were trashed.
So, really minor side note, because I do want to eventually get to the whether you perform stupider in a group or
we do
with your friend. But the thing that I was like, what the fuck, is your rig was just sitting in the corner idling while you were over yelling at everyone about how they needed to hit it harder, and
you're welcome.
I was wondering about that. So that makes a lot more sense now.
Well, probably that night is because I was blasting hood rat jams.
Well, you were blasting hood rat jams,
yeah,
for sure. Which, by the way, that has kind of been incorporated into our night rides. It's fucking hilarious.
That's good. I support that. I like those habits.
Graham and myself, when we blew the rear drive shaft out of it and my rig was broken, we're blasting hood rat jams all through the night ride. It was great.
You mean the toe back?
I'm talking about the entire time, because when we dipped into, what was it, Foxhole at Good Evening, you were blasting hood rat jams.
Oh, was I? Okay.
Yeah, it was the entire night ride. It never stopped.
That's good. I support that.
Yeah, I also have some more questions for you after we cover the stupider in groups thing about tuning, because it seems like yours is pretty on point now.
Oh, yeah. See, the thing, Luke, that you need to take note of is he's got 2 pumps. You don't need 2 pumps for power. You need 2 pumps in case one dies.
For longevity. Baby girl, she's not here for a long time. She's here for a good time.
Pretty much.
Right?
That's been the story of my life with 4-liter XJ pumps. I finally have a new fuel cell, So, like, we're okay now, but before it was every trip it would end because I blew the fuel pump up.
That's
So,
rough. Rough.
oh, it was. I'm really glad that that's not the problem, but I suppose we're taken away from your episode with that bullshit that we've covered a
It
million
wouldn't be
fucking
a,
times.
a
are we
blue
talking about
collar off road podcast episode without us bitching about your fuel pump for
the fuel
a couple
pump.
minutes.
Oh, okay. We're back here. Got it.
Yeah, we're definitely back here, Cody, and I'm trying to steer away, but
In his defense, I brought it there, but
hey, and also to be clear, I know that we're creeping, but I'm really not worried about the time target. If that matters to you.
Okay.
I don't care.
perfect.
See
I might
what
need
I was
another
saying
beer.
though? It just slowly starts rolling and rolling and rolling.
Yeah, well, got it.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
it gets out of hand, and suddenly we're asking questions about LS tuning and.
So look, I got a stack of cold beers over here and a whole fridge behind me. Let's ride, boys. Let's ride.
Hey, I've got a. I just finished the last of the Good Evening Ranch Moonshine, and I'm now working on a hazy IPA. So we got
That's
plenty
good.
of time here.
All right. Well, when you start
alright,
slurring, we'll know we know we're done.
So let's
We've
slide
seen
on-
what
let's
happens
slide into this question now. Let's slide into this question. Let me ask y'all, what do you think? Do you think I act more reckless in the presence of a large group? Or do you not? Y'all don't really know.
gonna go. I've never even met you before, and I'm gonna go with yeah because you seem like a guy that is happy to put on a show for others, and I do that same thing.
I don't
So
know. See,
I'm gonna go with yeah.
having met you once, I'm gonna say I don't think it matters. I don't think that changes how you'd act.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but you were the most responsible one at Real Bed that night.
Yes, you
So,
were.
That's
like,
saying something. That's saying something.
because you got on it, you stood on it, you made 3 attempts, and when it wasn't going, you backed off and started blasting music while telling Switch to hit it harder because he's a pussy. You know,
That's right.
like
I'm a bad influence.
that's why I have to ask the question though, because there was maybe 10 of us there, and like Jason, I'm pretty
Oh, yeah.
sure you knew Burtis before fucking Burtis showed up. We were nobodies, but whatever. We're
Are
doing that.
think I'm somebody?
nobodies.
What makes you think I'm somebody?
Well,
Come on,
Hey,
boy.
the burnout thing, you're talking about. You're somebody. At least in my
We'll
book,
see
you are.
about that. We're working on it. But no, I mean, I kind of feel like I act just as reckless with or without a crowd. I mean, yeah, I don't think I do anything more crazy because there's a crowd. If anything, I honestly think that I'm more willing to do something I think is going to destroy my rig when it's just my boys versus like
hell
80
yeah.
people out there, right? Like, I mean, you can only sit around so long. It's typically when you have a crowd of people, right? There's probably 20 rigs out there. You got a bunch of people. Everybody's having a good time, playing music, hitting the obstacle wherever you're at, right? And it's like you watch 7 or 8 rigs hit it. You're like, man, I want to hit that shit again, right? And you ride through and hit it again, and it's like, I'm probably gonna hit a pretty challenging line, but like, am I gonna like? I'm definitely more likely to do something that's past the limits of my rig when it's just the boys. But we act reckless no matter what. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like, I think following up on that, right? Like, some of the worst beatdowns I've ever put on my rig have happened when it's just been me and Ryan. He's been on the podcast before. I know he listens, so he'll catch this and probably message me about it. But when I'm wheeling with him, or if it's like Cody, Graham, Richie, and Colin, the beatdowns get far worse because I'm just trying to make it up the trail to the next obstacle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't want to hear the shit talking about me being a pussy. So,
Well, also, I mean, I'm 100% for the harder beatdowns happen in the smaller groups because at least, and it sounds like I'm not alone here. When you're in a big group, it's harder to have everybody's gonna try it, right? And it's gonna take you a while to go through. And yeah, you may go through something multiple times, but at the same time, you're trying to progress and go forward and go to the next thing as well. So you're not gonna spend as much time on each spot. So you might not pick the hardest thing. I don't know. That's
The only counterpoint I have to that would be like the day that we picked Mark up at what was it, Mabel? That day we were going and just being obtuse to be retards for no particular.
Oh, that's because we were just sitting there. I mean, and you know, Mabel, for those who don't know, is a pretty short property. You can get up to the top in probably how fast, Luke?
15
the
minutes.
record is 15 minutes. I think it was like 14:52 from.
There's a record?
Top.
I don't know if there's an official record, but you can go up it pretty fast if you want. And we were behind this group of guys, and not their fault, just smaller rigs. But we were sitting there, we're waiting. How long was it? It was probably like 20 minutes, and we weren't even halfway up.
Longer than that.
Yeah, so we're sitting there. So we let them do their thing, and then we just go up and one shot all these, the harder lines for each of the bits, and
that was brutal too, because it was like. They would clear out, and we would be on rev limiter before we even hit the obstacle, just out of pure frustration from sitting. And then this guy comes up, awesome guy, fucking. You will never hear me talk shit on Mark, but he goes, "What's done to your rig?" And then he's like looking over my rig, he's looking over Graham's rig, because we're like there on tons and everything, and that group had Dana 30s. And we started talking with him after we had just done this whole property on rev limiter.
And now he's got a nicer, more built Jeep than all of ours.
Yeah. I think we broke him that day.
Oh no, Mark's cool.
Great dude.
That comes back to the bug. Once you see it and it's tangible, and you talk to the person, you're like, and then you realize that it's doable, and that's not just something you see on pictures. And it's like, oh, you can be, for lack of a better word, a dumbass and still build this shit, and like you can learn and become good at this shit and make something that's capable and cool and fun. And sometimes all you need is to actually see the person and the rig in person. To get there.
To be fair, though, he was also still new with wheeling then. Like, that was his first season ever going out.
Really? I didn't know that.
Even my Jeep, which was pretty comparable. I think he only had 33s and I had 35s at the time. But even I was able to walk past some of the stuff that he wasn't able to make up. Because I've been there 8 times and know all the lines and know when to let off the throttle, when not to, yada, yada, yada. But he was quite fresh to wheeling then. I mean, like, that's his his first rig ever, and he's 40 something, 45, 46. So something to take into comparison as well.
Yeah, Drew, I didn't know that.
I'm gonna step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, do your thing. Now we can talk shit about you.
That's fine. If you didn't know, I was born a bitch. I was raised a bitch. I'll always be a bitch.
That's my life motto. Yeah.
We're going to talk about episode 100 really quick, because we're going to do it now while he's gone. What the hell happened that made it so crazy? Yeah, 101. Yeah. What did you stinkers talk about that made it so crazy that you?
Well, if you listen to the episode, you'd know. I can't talk shit because I didn't listen to it yet either, but we'll get there. I heard Jacob listened. I heard it was the consensus is any episode that I'm not in, it goes off the rails way more than it normally does. I don't think I'm the greatest conductor here of the shitty-ass train. And then, Cody, you always provide the comedic relief, so I don't know what the hell happened that episode. It's a
didn't think it was that bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying...
No. It was... You sat me, Jason, Tony, Jake, and Richie
Did you talk about the beefalo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank God. Okay.
It got talked about. Quite a bit, actually. There was
Jason, and Richie were just, and whoever else was at the fire that night, we're just having the greatest time about these friggin' biffalo things.
The fuck is a biffalo?
Beefalo.
What the fuck is
what
that?
happens when you breed a cow and a buffalo.
And they escape in Connecticut, apparently. and then they
Y'all
roam
trying to
free.
tell me that found 3 cows in Buffalo?
Yeah, it's called a beefalo. They're pretty cool.
Wow.
That's like
They're
a boxer
real.
and a pit bull mix
I
or
tell you what, I
something. That's
walked
crazy.
in the shop and went
Um,
out.
and so to finish off on that, you had the power of turbo autism meets schizo posting, and you have the perfect like good evening ranch sandwich with that.
I thought it was a really good.
No, I'm sure that was a good one. I think
Okay.
it actually like is best case scenario because I definitely wanted to bring Anthony on, and I feel like we weren't initially lined up for him to come back on for that, which didn't make any sense, but that's just how it was. Obviously, Jason's a cool dude. We were with him the whole weekend, and then who else was it? Was it Damien who was on?
Oh, it was Jake with the
Jake,
smaller
okay.
samurai. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Perfect
Okay.
combo as far as like actually having fun with the talk.
Yep.
It just ended up going off the rails.
Damn, you
because
hear that, Anthony? He said that it wouldn't have been fun if you were on. Some
Who?
shit.
it was Damien that I just insulted, so if you're gonna insult people, at least get it correct.
Poor Damien.
Oof. Poor Damien. Get fucked, Damien.
Good dude.
Oh, that's not enough.
I mean, we need to bring him on and talk about the IROCs. There needs to be an intervention, but
Oh,
It's-
hell yes. Yo, can I get in on the intervention?
yes.
Yeah, we'll just have
Yeah,
a
I
bunch of
despise IROC.
We're gonna do this
Absolutely
correctly.
despise them.
The only thing they're good at is not breaking. I've got one from it's a 36, and I don't. It's still in the truck as a spare for the thing because I don't have a spare 40. But I swear that it's unkillable. What is it from, Luke? Like 2007?
Oh wait.
I don't.
It's
Yeah,
an- oh wait.
it's got no tread left on it. It's the spare that comes out after I've blown two or was the spare that come out after I blew two of the Trep radials on a weekend, and it would just. I didn't air it down and didn't do anything to it. It just stayed as it was, beat the crap out of the thing, and never died. I drove it on the highway. I think it was in the front, too. Back, it drove like crap, but it did it. Didn't blow up. It was, there's something to be said about having an indestructible tire in the lineup, but I don't know if I'd want all four of them.
This is like arguing that you don't have girl problems because you're gay. I think this is what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah. They need to. I love Interco, and I'm sorry, but you need to take every one of them IROCs and send them back to China. Ain't nobody want them things. They're terrible.
Yeah.
I'll take 140, and it can be from 2008. I'm not picky, but I'm not paying full price.
Just one.
I
Why don't
only
you just
need
take
one.
a rock. Just take a rock and bolt it to a wheel and do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, get your pencil out and form it into a circle and bolt it into the
I mean, if that was easy, I wouldn't mind it. If it was cheap and easy, I'd do it.
You
Free
should. I'm down.
All right, let's make one. Somebody give me a slab of granite.
Hey, we didn't promise granite, okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take limestone.
Are you highfalutin?
There you go.
Yo, limestone is the sticky tire of rocks, all right?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
That
So
is
limestone on limestone would probably just mesh perfectly. It'd go right up.
Seems logical.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
All right, so
Yeah,
that's
we
the end of
devolved.
our horrible mission there. Where were we?
He had some questions, I think. You wanted to get out whether I.
Oh yeah, Luke wanted to talk to you about tuning, even though you said you don't know a lot about tuning and want to learn
Yeah.
about tuning. But let's
I
see
know,
where it
yeah.
goes. Luke,
Wish I knew more. Working on that.
I think he's dead. Where'd he go?
Did he see? At least you apologized and left. He just fucking said, "See you later." Wow. Didn't even
Luke's
say
gone.
goodbye.
Yeah, it's
Anyways,
cold-blooded.
well, I'm gonna slide it over. We're gonna keep it going about the burnout competition. Then, what else did you do to that rig to prepare it for that? Because I noticed that you really didn't have much body sway, and it seemed like you lost a few inches of like travel. Did you strap down the axle, or what'd you do?
I gotta tell you, it's the only time you pull up with a few less inches, and it's a good time. But no, so I run ORI struts, right? So I run 16-inch travel ORI struts all around. And what I do for the burnout competitions is I completely discharge them, right, upper and lower chambers, and high level stuff. I don't know if y'all mess around with ORIs at all. Upper chamber setting your ride height, lower chamber setting your resistance to extension, right? So what I do is I drop it all the way down, empty both chambers. And there's other adjustments as well, but that's enough that I'm willing to talk about right now. But so what I'll do is I'll bump up the lower chambers to about 80 psi higher than I normally run for resistance to extension to keep it stable, and then I'll just charge the upper chambers until I'm like 1 inch above bump. Right, so C is absolutely slammed when I do it.
Gotcha.
See,
that
so
makes
I
sense.
basically I just retune all my shocks, and I don't just drop them down. I actually do go change pressures in those lower chambers. That way, I don't run sway bars, nothing like that. Big RI fanboy, call it what you want. But
well, that's the whole point of them is you don't have to run anything allegedly, right? It does it all.
And I gotta tell you, I mean it stays pretty stable. I've toyed with the idea of putting a sway bar on it, some sort of an off-road sway bar, obviously, long reach, things like that. But I've toyed with the idea. But I mean, I haven't had any times where I've flopped or flipped the rig or not been able to make it up an obstacle because of a little bit of body roll. But it stays impressively stable. I mean, I've wheeled with a bunch of boys on coilovers and air shocks and things like that, and their stuff is all over the place.
Yep. No, I mean when you've got, I will say with the ORIs, the adjustability I feel like you have is definitely impressive.
It's amazing. 4 years in, I had to send them in to get rebuilt. I had 2 of them leaking. But I feel like, if you've got a hardcore wheeler and you're actually wheeling, that rebuilding a shock every 4 years, and it was not absurdly expensive.
I'm impressed it took 4 years.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
See, the only other experience we have with ORIs, and honestly, I've driven the rig, and I liked the way they rode, was is Curtis's rig. And he bitches about him because he'd tow the thing down to wherever the hell we were going, and he'd have to change the pressures because one of them had done something weird. But I think that was an issue with his shoddy ass ORIs that he got secondhand or something. I don't remember the detail on that. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think saying that, I don't think he had to fill them the most recent time we saw him. So maybe he fixed it. I don't know. But he used to complain about him a little bit. But
yeah, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I ran my whole life in this rig, and I'm 100% believer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Again, it's almost too much adjustability in some cases, and it's a do everything well, maybe not perfect, but then to do it all perfect, you need to have all these different parts that work really well together, and you got to do a lot more homework than you would if you just pressured an ORI correctly, right? So
exactly. I want to do everything perfect. I'm running coil carriers and triple bypasses.
Exactly.
I'm spending 100 hours tuning them, right? Yep. I don't need all that.
No, you can just
as much as I'd like to claim I have a caliber rig to justify that, I 100% do not.
Yep.
Yeah, and
welcome back.
So, thank you. I had to go and grab food, take a piss, all the
okay,
usual.
Yeah, it's not like we're trying to record a podcast here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had said that the cutoff was going to be 8:30, and here we are, and it's not cut off. So,
question.
Oh, you were gagged and muted. I don't want to hear it, Cody.
Yeah, we don't want to hear nothing. You went.
Yeah. Okay.
You set us with a question and then disappeared.
Yes, because COVID just happens to just literally cut off. You don't actually, the coughing doesn't just, just.
Oh, I thought you didn't have COVID. Oh, never mind. Okay, fine. Well, you didn't need to gag. You didn't need to mute gag yourself.
Yeah, get this guy out of here.
It's a quick button on my keyboard.
All right. Regardless, everyone's back. The whole gang's here.
And we're not fucking
or whatever I missed.
Yeah, we're still here.
But the thing I think that helps ORIs is that they have a lot of tunability out of the box for whatever your rig is.
We established this. Thank you for.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah.
I
thought you did that when you were away in the intermission.
Reckless.
I know. I'm terribly sorry. I was gone for 5
No,
minutes.
yeah, we basically just covered like all of ORIs. So.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll say is I don't think that everyone else is or I think a lot of coilover problems sit down because people don't actually realize their corner weights. So when you start figuring that in, and then you start figuring driving style in, that is majorly beneficial to getting your coilovers pretty close to right the first time.
I like where this is going. So here's my question for y'all. How much do you think my rig weighs?
Oh, that's a good one.
4850.
4850. All right.
I'm gonna go with Richie. You go.
I was gonna say 49.
49.
Way too low. 54.
I don't think he's over 5.
I think he is.
6,700.
6,700.
What? Wait, are we counting the driver weight or no?
If you're gonna get 6,700, you might as well get 69.
Yeah, just go all the way. A rev limiter to match the rig weight.
Y'all are trifling.
That's like the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, you know. It's like, but instead of horsepower to weight, it's was a rev.
If your rev limiter doesn't match your vehicle weight, you're doing it wrong.
Hey, my rev limiter weight ratio looks pretty good. Now I think about that. That's pretty good. So full tank of fuel, full cooler, and tools. I weigh 5,200 pounds.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, I win. Or maybe I don't. I don't know.
Well, you put me in at right at 5,400.
Yeah. What did Luke say?
Luke said 54.
Yeah, he said 54.
I said 54.
48.
You said 48. Luke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said 54.
I said
You
54. There we go.
You
Yeah.
said
I
that.
said 6,700 if we were confused. That was
No,
me.
we know you.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
rev
something wrong
limiter
with
to weight ratio.
I'm actually offended. Actually offended. Unless you think I carry 1,000 pounds of beer in there with me.
I mean, you
No,
might.
I was thinking it was the extra shafts. You just kept the broken ones with you as like a trophy.
all
So you just
all
put
8 or 9 of
all
them.
up.
Look at my trophies.
After that break, I weld to
Hey,
the
with the driver.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
It's his opener. He pulls up, opens the door, and shows everybody his broken shafts.
Yeah, y'all like that?
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised.
Really?
Especially given my rig's weight. I was expecting less.
Yeah.
My rig's
I would say less.
My rig's at 53 without driver in it. So
I'm
it's like
sorry.
55 with driver. That's not even counting like a spare or tools or any of that shit. That was just wet weight.
My rev limiter to weight ratio is way off. My weight outweighs my rev limiter. So
Yeah, what's 7,000 divided by 5,200? Like 1.2 or something like that?
Google will tell us in a second.
Also, what's a factory 4-liter rev limiter?
Fuck.
is it 5 or is it like?
The minus 40, like 47, 48. And then it starts like just going stupid. Like 4,800.
4,800 RPM.
Yeah. No, rotations of the raccoons in my asshole. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
The fuck else would I be talking about?
This has gotten spicy. Oh my goodness.
Okay, yeah. So my rev limiter to weight ratio is way off. I don't know what it actually weighs, but it's definitely creeping up on 6, unfortunately. So
We got a bunch of thick girls around here.
it's fat, and it's not even. It could be fatter.
Yeah.
So the factory rev limiter is at 5,200 RPMs.
What
Where
year
it
though?
cuts fuel.
Because this guy says his Renix revs to 5,700. So where are you getting your information
Well,
from?
Renexes are stupid, and that's do they even have a rev limiter on those? I thought the computer was made out of like fucking
Wikipedia?
sticks.
Here's one that revs to 3,000. So Luke,
Well,
I think
that's-
you need to show your work because buddy, you're coming.
that
Come
dude
on.
does,
was
that thing is broken.
And
Y'all all sound like you're plagiarizing a high school essay.
Yeah.
That's what y'all all sound like.
so that was just Google. And my rev limiter to weight ratio is 0.094. So I need to improve that to get into the 1.1 range to be cool again.
I think
That's
this
fair.
has to be like the opener question for all new guests: is what's your rev limiter to weight ratio?
I think you can start with what's your rev limiter set at, and then you can go from there.
Well,
Yeah,
no, but I think if we just open with the just ridiculous question, there's gonna it'll be the
I like
comedic
it.
value will pay for itself.
That,
so
that sounds
the
reasonable.
sorry, my bad.
You should be sorry.
I am sorry. I wheel an XJ, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
I
need to
feel
get
bad
much
for you.
worse than that.
Although it sounds like the frames don't last much longer than unibodies. I could at least if I'm patching together a unibody, I feel like I'm doing something. If you're patching together a rainbow frame, then I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of feel like a reasonably productive human being if you work on a unibody, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm fixing something that's dumb. If I have to fix a frame, it's like, well, it shouldn't have broken in the first place. That's the whole point of it. So.
Well, I'll just go back to my original point. You're not wheeling hard enough then. So.
I mean, I'll admit I could wheel harder, but I'm trying my damnedest here.
That's all right. You're doing
It's
the
not
best you
much.
can.
I criticize the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cody.
I was just say it's not much, but it's honest work.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't criticize the barrel roll champion, so
Who's that?
Grumbo
Currently,
Hero got 3/4 of the way to a full barrel roll.
On a
I've
fucking
only seen that a
flat
quarter.
ground. It was basically, the video makes
On
it look
flat
flat.
ground.
It was not a hard obstacle.
he had a bad bounce, right? It was an off day.
Bad batch,
Yeah.
yeah.
He had a bad bounce where the rear tire landed in a hole, and the whole Jeep.
No, it wasn't even that. I was just pissed. I wanted to be more on the right, and Anthony wasn't spotting me, so I was just going wherever the fuck I wanted, and it was this tiny little boulder. It wasn't anything crazy, like something you just go over on a blue trail and not think anything about, but my rear end was in a hole, and I ended up loading the suspension up completely, and then I went up, and because it was a tiny obstacle that I wasn't expecting anything, I wasn't on the clutch or in reverse fast enough to do anything, and it all happened in like 2 seconds, and boom, I'm on my side.
Hilarious. He
So-
was just minding his own business, and then he's on his roof, and he's sitting with the driver's side up.
I don't know if I'm the barrel roll champion, though. It's
Yeah,
only
'cause I'm
the
gonna
second
challenge
time
you
it's
with
been
that
on
right
its side.
Right now, that sounds like the barrel roll champ.
Yeah, I bet
Yeah,
you beat me for barrel
Well,
rolling.
it's not me. I've witnessed it with my eyes.
Oh.
But it's not me. So we were at AOP. Y'all been to AOP?
Mhm.
Y'all,
Yeah.
what do y'all know about AOP?
Well, we went and it was dry, so it wasn't really that fun.
Wow.
I mean, it was
You
fun, but it
How much
it
on the right
didn't.
side of the park did you run then?
Not enough.
Well, then that's why you didn't have fun.
Yes.
Well, I
So-
live an hour from AOP, so I've been there a couple times now.
I'm very jealous of you. So left side of the park, right? You come out of the field, you go on the left side,
Yep.
right? And there's like that little kind of like entrance trail on the right there.
Yep.
Real
Yep.
short thing. When it's wet, it gets super sloppy. There's a couple big rocks in there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one night at AOP, and God dang it, it's probably the one time that I really wish I was recording something. My boy's in front of me, and he's got a LS powered LJ on 42 traps, and it rained its butt off, and it is sloppy, it is nasty, it is wet, and he's got the front tires up on this ledge, and he did a full barrel roll. He did a full barrel roll. Never skipped a beat, stood right back on the throttle and hopped right up the ledge.
That's awesome.
That's an attaboy right there.
Barrel roll. I don't know if he knew where he was, but it was extremely high.
Well, I mean, I feel like at that point you just sort of go over, and if you're right side up, when everything's done doing its thing, like, why stop? It's still running.
That's if it happens, it happens.
Yep.
Wheels still turning, keep banging.
Agreed
That's it.
for sure.
That's like fucking. We need to have Dylan on, but Dylan Waters, fucking
Yep.
absolute mad lad, awesome dude to wheel with.
Oh yeah.
10 out of 10 recommend. If you ever get the chance and you know he's gonna be at an event, he's fucking wild, dude.
And we've talked. We've never wheeled together though. We've definitely
Oh.
we've talked. We've just never wheeled together. We've never been able to link up.
If you get him at especially at AOP, he's fucking wild. And the coolest part that I got to give this guy credit for is he will let you be in the worst possible situation, and he will be the coolest fucking dude about it. He'll be like, yeah, worst case, you flop over and you fall like 9, 10 feet onto your side. But, like, you got a cage and shit. It's cool. So I need you to, like, load it up to rev limiter and just pop the clutch in first. You gotta trust me, and you're good. And, like, I did that, and the rig fucking hopped and just, like, went from being sideways in the trail to the correct orientation in the trail, pulled the passenger front tire a good 8 feet in the air on the way down, and just kind of caught itself. And, like, he's like, yeah, I meant for that to happen. Everything that happened there was just, it was good. Nice driving. Keep going.
Well, I mean, that dude's the neutral bomb king.
Yeah, you ain't fucking kidding.
That's savage life.
He was sitting there in that fucking Sammy just fucking, like, first gear didn't work, second gear didn't work, and I think he's got a Sammy transfer case in there with some Toyota motor or some shit. And he's like, yeah, whatever. The slickies aren't hooking up right now. I think I need third. Drops it in third, neutral bangs it for about 5 seconds, and just goes up mouthwash at AOP. Great times.
That's what I like to see.
It's a beautiful thing that you don't get to see often enough.
No, not at all. Not at all. So where do y'all think Ober Time came from?
Oh shit!
Well, your last name.
names.
My guess is your last name. Am I winning?
I was just gonna go with the fact that rig has to put in overtime for the fact that, like, it stays in one piece, and I've seen how you drive it.
Okay, that's fair.
You use your overtime to pay for it, and it's a mix of your last name. I don't know.
That is the most common. I'll tell you that. We got one more. What do you think?
Richie?
I was thinking you were working some stupid overtime hours and then left from work to some major event.
To go blasting.
Yeah.
Huh. So overtime comes from back in high school. I played lacrosse in high school and a little bit in college, and I did face-offs. Y'all familiar with that?
Nope.
No.
Y'all know what hockey is?
Yeah.
No.
You face-off in hockey.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
lacrosse, right?
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, like, I did all the face-offs, and so, like, the fans and the fans in the crowd, my friends and family and all that stuff, everybody, my initials are T.O. So my nickname for freaking 20 years has been T.O. And people were cheering T.O., T.O., right? And, like, anybody who was there that didn't know me was like, what the hell? It's the first quarter. Why are they yelling OT? So, that was high school, right? I was, a good, responsible boy. And then when I got to college, OT became my drunk ass alter ego. So like I went from TO to that's not overseas, that's Ober Time, right? So Ober Time is purely my drunken alter ego. That's it. This homeboy is blasted. I don't know who he is anymore.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I can't tell you how many people think it's like a spin on like overtime, working long hours, making good money. It's like, no, it's just me acting ignorant.
No, it's just your alter ego.
That's it. That's it. It's high quality.
It is. Oh, fuck. What was that guy's name with the blue buggy? That reminds me of him. The fucking Baja Blast buggy. He was at Roush.
Oh.
Not Baja Blaster.
No, not Baja Blaster, but it just reminds me of him.
That's an actual person? Is that an Instagram?
I believe so.
That's like the Father Hooligan guy, isn't it?
Yeah. That's who we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dude.
He calls it the Baja Blast buggy.
Oh, yeah, yes, because it's the same color.
I mean, we've been talking about Baja Blasting for years, and I hate for it to be circled up with that, but, if it happens, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5-slot Hooligan, you're right. Yeah. He's a blast to wheel with. That thing's fucking cool.
Really?
Yeah. It's well
I
done.
haven't seen him on the trail. I know he finished it recently. I haven't seen him on the trail yet, though.
Yeah, I think it was his first or second run. He came up to Roush with us, and he kept Sam and Burtis occupied for quite a while.
Yeah.
Fucking also, if you get a chance to wheel with Curtis, I can't believe I'm about to recommend him, but he's a good dude to wheel with. If you ever get the chance to wheel with him longer than like railbed, great dude.
Yeah.
And the best thing is, if you insult his manhood, he will roll his shit.
That is
Is
true.
he insecure or something? What are you trying to say about him?
No, you really don't want him to roll his shit, because then you'll be sitting there and he'll be grumpy as he pulls the plugs because he's scared he's gonna,
Yeah, he did that
hydrolock his
on.
motor.
He did that at the water.
Yeah. Oh, he was so
pulled all
pissed.
the blood.
Starter
What
up.
are you doing?
No, he blew the starter up at fucking railbed. Like, it broke the fucking starter. It locked up that bad.
Yeah. I mean, he
So-
was right to pull the plugs, but I was still gonna give him shit because
I mean, that was very responsible of him to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but it had already broken the starter. That's the funny part. Like, he got back down there, and the fucking starter's held on by one bolt. And the
How did it
fucking top
start?
gear's just flopping. We don't know. It's probably just because it was hitting the fucking AW4
Probably.
and, like, forcing itself in there to start. And it ran the whole weekend like that, but he got back and he texted me some pictures, and the top ear is just blown off the fucking starter.
Huh.
Jeez.
I don't know if it was starting the rest of the weekend. I don't know if that's correlation there. That could have just been dumb luck. Maybe it was loose. If you don't tighten your starter bolts, it'll do that.
I don't know, man. I can't read or do math. I'm basically retarded at this point.
Yeah.
So, like,
Not a big
I'm
science
willing
guy,
to
huh?
explain.
Not a big science guy.
No
Nah, he
science,
totally-
English. Probably not math. Oh no, you could do some math.
I can do 4-link math and 3-link math.
What's
I can't
the
pronounce
square root of
math.
69?
Your mother.
That is not nice. It hurts my
You
feelings.
asked.
He said, "You asked. It's the truth.
Truth hurts.
It's disrespect."
She is such a nice lady, though. She bakes you cookies afterwards.
Hey, look, you can't call people nice ladies. That's not nice.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hell anyway, so it's all right.
That's fine. That's fine. It'll be a good time. That's what the party is.
So I gotta ask: is there any chance at getting you to Good Evening Ranch for Labor Day?
Is Labor Day the one at the beginning of the year?
Labor Day is the one at the end
September.
of September. Yeah.
Why are you waiting until next September?
Because that's when the ride is planned, and we've already started to prep.
I mean,
for
we
what's
could just like tell him to show up to the whatever Trail Trash is doing in the spring, because we'll probably be going down there.
I mean, so Good Evening Ranch is probably the most common place I go.
Dude,
Really?
that place is so fucking sick.
It's just such a cool vibe. It's an awesome piece of property. Everybody there is great to deal with. Everyone's just got such a great attitude, and it's just a good time. You know, you go snag a cabin, ride trails whenever you want. Like, I love Good Evening Ranch.
My only complaint, and it's a worthless complaint because of the rest
can
of
see
the
that.
property, is that I can't open it up there. But as far as everything else goes, it more than makes up for one minor bitch. So,
Yeah.
like, that place it's wild. It's so fucking cool to go and wheel there because it's like you take all of the obstacles at Roush, right? And you condense them down into a property that's probably 1/10 of the size. So, like, it's just fucking one thing after the next, and it's wild.
Oh, it's great. I mean, every obstacle is like 500 yards from the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking amazing.
I think it's somewhere around 400 acres. They got some
440.
Hmm?
440 acres of fun.
Yep. There you
Okay,
go.
so it's 1/10 the size of Roush.
It's petite.
But at the same time, you can go out there and run 3 trails and kill an entire fucking afternoon just because it's obstacle after obstacle on the set of trails that you're on. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. Good Evening Ranch is definitely one of our favorite places. Are y'all hosting a ride out there? Is that
Yeah,
the deal?
we are. Labor Day weekend, that's going to be our ride for that. So, if you got any people that you want to bring up there, right now I've talked with the owner and we have a 10-person cabin reserved.
That's it?
Well, for now, if I have to change it, I have to change it, and I've got plenty of time to change it.
Oh yeah.
We have basically a year.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say you were like Labor Day. I was like Labor Day next year.
Yep.
Yeah, Labor Day next year. We're already planning out that far. So the last ride we did, we actually shut Roush down. It was fucking wild.
Yeah, we had quite
That's badass.
Were they there for us? I
That whole right side pretty much was, except for the weird guys in the Charger and the
really? I didn't know
extra.
that. I was
We
just
had
totally out of it
30
the entire weekend.
We had 38 rigs out that weekend.
Damn.
I think it was more than that, but maybe
38 that actually came and talked to us from my keeping track. That's not counting the people that said, "Oh, hey, we know these people and they're coming down."
Mm-hmm.
So, essentially, at the moment, it looks like if we keep planning everything and we stay on top of it, we might even be able to book out all of Good Evening.
That'd be good. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild time. And, I don't know if you follow Naked and Afraid.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Yeah, good fucking dude.
Yeah, dude, that dude's kick ass.
I love giving him shit for his double pillars that he does on his halos or whatever you want to call them on his cables.
What, the double B pillars?
I mean, they're cool. Not double B pillars. It's the middle.
He doesn't build nodes.
No, yeah, the dude. I love him, and he can build nodes. He just chooses not to, and it makes me mad every time. But
he's a high quality human being, though.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Dude.
And his cage work, other than that, is really fucking cool. Every time he does something, every Jeep he's got in there, I'm always.
Oh yeah. No, we met up with him
cool
at
shit.
like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
No,
great.
he's
fucking
awesome.
guy.
He's awesome. Cool dog too. That's a big win.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Willow's
Willow's
dope.
amazing.
Yeah, I can't say too much, but he's probably one of my favorite parts of Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's a little
cute.
I'm a,
I'm gonna text
said
him after
that.
this. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
text him after this and tell him how you feel about him.
I don't give a shit.
The romance.
You got a secret
will
admirer
tell-
out here.
Dude, I will text him right now that I love him. I don't give
Tell
a
him-
shit.
Tell him that Ober Time loves him. Text him right now. Let me know what he says.
All right, I'm on it right now.
Do it. So we talking about a ride at Good Evening Ranch. What do y'all know about decent fours?
Never even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah,
That's cold blooded. Obviously, you know a little something about Ultra 4.
a little bit. Yeah, not
Yes.
much.
You know, we're up in our own little corner. Nothing. We don't get out much. No, we're getting there. We're trying to.
I kind of figured Jesus would get out more.
Travels the world.
I think Jesus has done the most driving.
Yeah, he is.
Right. So y'all talked about you got to have your little off road club to where you do because
Yep.
of the situations you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So we've learned over the years that we're really not off road club type people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It depends.
Can
Like
imagine why.
off-road clubs have a bad. They've got a bad rep in most places, but there's some pretty badass off-road clubs in New England. I will only vouch for New England because that's the only place I know.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of off road clubs that actually wheel. But when you look at a lot of them, it's just not what we're into. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right?
Yep.
I encourage people to do whatever the hell makes them happy, right? So I will never judge a person for being an off-road club. You might park in a parking lot 93% of the time in your Jeep's life. That's cool.
Nope.
You might run small trails. That's cool too. I want everybody to go have fun with the rig. So I've got a group of probably I don't know, 15 to 20 buddies that we've been wheeling together the past 13, 14 years.
You might even call it an unofficial club.
There you go. Right.
The Ober Time Club.
The group chat might have a name.
Exactly. So that's the club name.
It's Decent Fours, right? Obviously you've heard of Ultra Four.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not ultra, but we're pretty decent. So we went and, we're just a bunch of drunk idiots, really, when you think about it. But like, we went and snatched the Ultra 4 logo and converted it to Decent 4. And we've all got stickers on our rigs because we're big club guys.
Yep.
Like we've got flags. Anytime we go to a lot of times we go to AOP for like the Ultra 4 race or stuff like that. And honestly, knowing those guys, I am completely shocked we have not received a cease and desist yet. I swear to God, it's hilarious. We got T-shirts with it looks just like the Ultra 4 logo. Decent Fours.
No.
We got stickers, T-shirts, we got flags. Like we're out here just acting ignorant like a bunch of hooligans. And I've known people who've gotten cease and desist for Decent Fours for much less. For Ultra 4 for much less.
Damn.
But what I would encourage y'all is that we could definitely have a podcast with the squad.
Oh,
I would encourage y'all for some reckless activities because the boys are some hood rats, and it is very entertaining.
We're gonna break the fourth wall, if you will, and right now we need to get caught up, so something like that would be absolutely perfect. And then on top of that, Sam just texted me back and said, "Oh shit, you have him on," and he's a good dude with a heart.
That's my boy. Oh yeah, but I 100% encourage if y'all want to get some rowdy jokers on here and hear some good times, we'll get the squad on here, 100%.
If you want to start floating that boat, we will make time for it.
I like it.
We've also got it's on the back burner and still working up to it, but I'm gonna break the fourth wall again. We have some 4600 class boys that want to come on and talk with us about how stock class is currently.
We also have
what's required.
We also have a 3-time Ultimate Class X-Rocks champion coming on in 2 weeks.
Oh my god,
So,
I forget we've got so many cool people.
We're stretching our little tentacles out and touching all corners of the United States, so it'll be pretty cool
Tentacles.
coming up soon.
I like it, boys.
Maybe think of GTFO, the touchy-feely guy.
Yeah. Blue collar off-road tentacles. Just reaching out.
We got all the fucking jellyfish now?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 people involved in finding other people to talk to. It's wild how the process begins.
You'd think we'd be more on top of our shit.
We're fucking terrible about that. But to keep breaking the fourth wall, though, I think it was Jason Ramsey that recommended you, and then Cody broke the barrier on that and started talking with you about it, and I finished the setup on it.
Heck yeah.
So, it's one of those things where it's weird, but it's been super cool because you get to actually meet your heroes, and for once, it's not been shitty.
We're telling this guy he's a hero. I don't.
You're my hero.
I've got pretty nice hair right now. I've grown it out since y'all met me, but I don't think I'm anybody's hero.
I don't mean it like that, but I mean like the cool dudes that you followed on Instagram or Pirate, and you actually get to sit down and talk with them. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I respect that. I mean, I was just out of town this past weekend at an Oyster Fest, and same kind of deal. Not even off roading, with some friends, and ran into this chick that she knew, and it's like same deal, right? It's like just they're into the same things. It's this chick they knew on the internet, and it's like it's absolutely insane when you look at social media and whatever hobby you're into. and you follow these people, you message these people that you've never met in your life, and then it's like, I've probably got a selection of 40 or 50 friends now that I know purely from the internet, where you come across them in real life, and it's like, oh, what's up, man? Oh, what's up, girl? It's like, and you're almost, you're not best friends, but it's like I know you. It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely insane to think about.
Yeah, well, I know Colton listens to this, so he gets a free shout out. But like, we went down and we met Colton at Good Evening Ranch, and he's IBJeepin95 on Instagram. Dude's fucking funnier in person than he is.
Oh, he was a riot. My only regret is we didn't wheel with him more. He's got this tiny little TJ on 37 BFGs, and that thing just goes everywhere.
Jay, he's still on leaf springs.
Yeah, you look at the thing, you're like, is that gonna work?
Y'all got me pulling him up right now. He follows me, and I'll follow him back. I feel like a bad person.
Oh man.
No, he's a good time.
All right, Colton. Hey, Colton, I'm gonna give you a follow back, dog. Let's slide.
Let's go.
Done deal.
But like, he's at Good Evening every couple weeks, and the dude just knows that property in and out. So like, Graham and myself finished fixing my rig because it showed up broken, and
Typical.
We just went out and ran a bunch of stupid fucking lines following him around, and then we went through the creek trail with him, and Cripple Creek is not hard, but it's nothing to sneeze at either.
Well, hold on a second. Did you make it up the big part of Cripple Creek, or did you take the bypass?
You mean that ending bit? That's all slop? Or
no? It's kind of like I'm 2/3 of the way through.
Where you have two options. You can go more to that right line, which is a couple big boulders and a ledge, sort of, or the left line, which is bouldery, or
that's all the way at the end.
Oh, is it the one?
The one with rocks, or the other?
Yeah, is it the one with the ledge on the the mud ledge on the right?
Sorry, I bet.
Are there rocks and not rocks? Like,
so is it dirt trees rock, or is it rock tree dirt? Come on, man. Which one is it?
Rock tree dirt?
It's dirt rocks.
Oh,
there's 3 different lines, and I watched Grid Sack not make it up, but that's not anything I could talk about. The Great American Crawl might suit y'all.
Hey, if it makes you feel better in that particular section, if it's the one I'm thinking about you referencing,
I don't know. I thought I do, but apparently I don't.
DJ with like
part of the trail.
The 54-inch Mickey Thompsons is what he's referring to.
Well, I don't think his rev limiter to weight ratio is correct. That's
no.
I'm
retarded. Luke was referring to the trail, not the guy that he was making fun of. Never mind. Sorry.
Made fun of. I'm a nice person. I don't make fun of nobody.
Yeah, we don't. We're nice
we
here.
Don't do that here.
We're all nice people.
Christian Minecraft server.
But if you're referencing that section, my rock slider caught me from flopping, and the video on it doesn't do it justice, but it's fucking hilarious because I'm just riding up and down my rock slider trying to get like some form of traction.
No, I think that's further down. That's like first half.
It's barely past halfway on the main trail. Like when you starting from the bottom coming up, there's a dirt hill on the left. There's what doesn't appear to be too rough, but it's where the rocks are positioned, and it's always wet. So it's a freaking bitch to get up. And then there's like a new, but if y'all haven't been there a lot, there's a new like kind of bypass to the right, which doesn't feel like a bypass because it's still like an uphill climb with rocks and things like that. To go around it. So y'all might have not hit.
So, yeah, no, we definitely hit that. The left side that you were referencing there?
Yep.
The rock pile in the middle?
Yes.
That rock pile in the middle...
No, it's a log. The log was the thing that fucks everybody up. The log has moved.
Yeah,
unless that's not...
I removed the log.
I think we're having a failure to communicate.
Yeah, I don't think,
So how about next Labor Day? I take y'all to the big hog section. We put the rigs on.
I mean, we went through the whole trail, so it's frustrating that we can't figure out what fucking spot it is. But
okay, so the section where there's the 3 lines that leads out to the bypass on the left, and then if you keep going on the right, you go up the waterfall. If you go up the middle, you go up the waterfall.
I'm over this. I'm over this conversation.
Me too. I feel like
I made the joke.
We will figure it out later.
I made the joke, Luke, saying that you guys are literally talking about dirt, rock, trees.
Well, it's all the same, right? You're going up the stream, or you go to the left or the right. What spot? Yeah.
Like I tell you, we were out there one time, and we ran Cripple Creek, and we were with the y'all know who Fab Fours is?
I know of him.
Right, the Grumper Bumpers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So we were at a good evening, and Fab Fours is owned by two guys. They're cool. They're cool dudes, and they've got super badass buggies. They're both on 42 Reds. They're bad to the bone buggies, and we ran Cripple with those guys. And it's our normal, some of our normal crew, and then a couple of piece of shit XJs. Sorry guys, I apologize. But
all right, they all are.
It happens. Shit boxes. We'll just lovingly refer them to as that. And like homeboy blew like a radiator line, and we're just out there having a good time. We don't care about nothing. Like, I'm at the point in my wheeling, hobby, I guess you want to call it, that like I don't need to go hit the biggest thing to have a good time. I don't need to go hit the biggest obstacle. I don't need to make it up. But I'll put the paws on. I'll try it. But like, I just have a good time in the woods, right? So I'll wheel with guys on 33s. I'll wheel guys on 42s. I'll wheel guys on 54s if I have to, But it's like, we're just out there to have fun, and we're talking shit to each other because, everybody likes talking shit to their boys. And those Fab Four guys looked at us at one point. Allegedly, we exceeded their ability to accept us. And they were like, if y'all don't stop talking shit to that guy, we're leaving.
What?
We throw sticks and like dirt on people when they can't make shit up, when they can't make it up an obstacle.
I mean, there's also kind of a fine line that we dance hard as fuck on as we're talking shit, though. And if somebody's soft, you might step over that line, and like it's not my fault that I'm crossing that line when the 10 other dudes behind you were like they were laughing as I was talking shit to them. So.
We'll never forget the time that I was fucking sitting at Kish's getting denied, bouncing rev limiter and fucking putting on a smoke show, and Graham throws a fucking rock through my fucking open fence. Time they were just cut to shit. It bounces off of the inside of the fender, off of the fucking hatch, and makes this ridiculous fucking clang bang noise. So I let off, and then Colin throws a stick at my windshield and yells at me that I'm a pussy.
Yeah, you're taking too long.
By the way,
if you got a bunch of sticks and shit on your cowl that you were taking too long.
Yeah,
pretty much what it comes down to.
Fucking Dan is bad about that.
About the sticks or taking too long.
Yeah,
throwing shit at rigs.
Speaking of throwing shit, Sam replied with, after you said that's my boy or whatever the fuck it was, double hard eyes, kissy face, and then a bunch of gay pride flags, and one of those eggplants with a couple squirt emojis after. So
yeah, dude. So he he was out at AOP when we were there for the Rain of Rocks event. So He wasn't in it, but he was out there with us, and we had a good freaking time. That dude's awesome. Yeah, that was the first time I had met him in person. But big fan of Sam. I sent him a little message after you told me, and I told him he was a nice person. So.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, he is.
I gotta go and bother him some more. We got some shit we gotta do to my rig before I go and do anything else. But I'm not trying to cut anything short. We're coming up on over 2.5 hours.
We're about at 2.5 on the dot.
Oh, really? All right, sweet. So my timing wasn't that bad.
No, I agree with you, Luke. I was gonna do it if you didn't. So,
Mr. Ober Time, what does your drunk alter ego tell you that we should finish this off with?
And where can we find you on social media?
Well, the problem is that I'm not drunk, so Ober Time's not here yet.
Oh,
That's the problem.
okay.
I know.
Maybe
So that's
next
harder.
time when we get the hooligans on.
Yeah, we'll get the whole squad on. And dude, I texted the group chat. I said, you know what? I wish I would have thought about this ahead of time, but we do Taco Tuesday every now and then, and beers are cheap, so we can slide on 6 or 7 brews deep, and that'd be a good time. Whatever y'all boys. What'd you say?
I'm scared but aroused.
Are you?
A little bit, yeah.
God, I hate it.
I think we should end it on the worst trail carnage you've seen, and I would like to know from y'all what that is. And I'll tell y'all, and we'll bounce it. We'll bounce it to the limiter and end it on that.
Bodily harm or vehicle harm?
I mean, in the spirit of keeping it positive, let's skip like personal injury because I've seen some pretty horrible things.
So is Graham.
Yeah,
Graham.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad we can skip.
I'd be happy to talk about them.
I agree. Let's not talk about bodily harm.
Exactly. Much love to my boy Jeff Davidson. Glad he's doing okay. But yeah, let's talk about rigs.
Yeah, let's be smart and safe and just break the rigs.
Ooh, smart and safe. Ooh, that's nice.
As smart and safe as we can be. You don't die. Don't run people over. Don't do fucking stupid shit that kills people.
Also, don't light on fire. That's the most horrifying thing on the planet.
Don't what?
Light on fire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
fire
rough.
is the only thing that scares me in wheeling.
I agree. 100%. I agree.
Fire and crush injuries.
Oh man, this got pretty. Let's rigs, people. I guess fire.
I'd say my worst. Mine's pretty fucking lackadaisical. I guess more than anything would be Colin ripping his knuckle off. That's probably my
That's like It's happened multiple times. The kid should just carry a ball joint kit.
When would I have seen anything worse? Oh, somebody cut a hole in their sidewall. Oh, no.
Damn, how did we get here? I thought
not another MTR.
Physical dismemberment.
But yeah,
wasn't ruthless.
But no, the sidewall, not sidewall. Sorry, the knuckle ripping off. Other than that, I mean, I haven't seen anything too fucking crazy.
Nothing.
No, I mean, I guess I'm pretty fucking lame. I don't know. I haven't seen much, to be honest.
I think
I'll volunteer my Roush carnage.
No,
that was pretty decent. It limped on the. I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about the. What was it? 2 years before that.
I enjoyed the term decent.
No, what about? It doesn't have to be your rig. What about the whole Trail Ninja bullshit?
Trail Ninja bullshit definitely qualifies.
That's up there. Yeah. When your entire ass end rips out, that's pretty significant.
I forgot about Brad doing that. Fuck yeah, I guess that's. But we didn't see it though,
We didn't, but Luke,
the only one,
technically saw that. So
I had to buy a balaclava because of it. So yeah, it was decent.
It scared him so much he had to ride with
Sam
the rest of the time.
Well, he also owed him the rub and tug on
true.
Yeah,
wow.
No, he had asked for it beforehand, and I had agreed, and then I had kind of blue balls him by hopping in with Brad Prater, so, maybe that...
And Luke felt guilty, so when he saw his chance, rig ripped in half. Time to
I tell you, if you hop in a rig with an LS and a blower, you don't have to worry about blue balls.
The only other instance I have besides Brad's would be when I launched a upper control arm and the rear shackle mounts through the frame at Roush for one of our Labor Day beatdowns.
I think the most impressive one I saw was the short side tube on a 0460. Ripped off of the differential casting and started rolling down. Fortunately, we were not incredibly far from the trailhead, but this thing, there was no magic moment that made this thing break, I swear. I mean, we dropped off a ledge. This is with Rob Craven, who we've actually had on the podcast, with his old Jucket buggy. When he just welded it back together and it was fine, so we don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened. as far as why that broke. It doesn't.
Didn't he just like beat the thing back in until it wouldn't move and weld around the tube?
I think so. But either when it
That's
was
amazing.
when it happened, right? We were going, and then suddenly he was like, "My steering feels weird," and it was like it just wasn't operating right. And I was a passenger, like I'm completely oblivious, like I don't know what the fuck's happening, because then I can't feel the steering because I'm just sitting in there, and there's rocks everywhere. We're in a rock garden, like you don't feel when the steering's not working from the passenger seat in that scenario. So we had a couple guys get out and look at the front, and they're like, "Oh, you've got adjustable camber now," and the whole knuckle was twisted down on the driver's side, and it just totally ripped out. We had like, I think 5 big ratchet straps was what it took to, maybe less. I don't know. It was actually impressive to like get it back into position and then strapping it all so it wouldn't move too much and wouldn't slide out. I don't think we were super concerned about it coming completely off, but it was gonna mess with his. I think he had air shocks on it, so like all that shit was fucked up to some extent. It was. I don't know if that's like. It's impressive, and it was definitely unique, but I don't want to do it again. It sucked, but yeah, I think that's the best I got as far as unique trail breaks. I've seen about 20 million MTRs blow up. Bad batch.
Fair enough.
So I think on that note, make sure that you keep your rig in good shape. You keep track of, your welds and everything, because every once in a while they come back to fuck you, like my cross member.
Not if you weld them right the first time.
I don't know, ripping the unibody out, it's kind
of
cool.
It's a unibody problem. It's right. Don't do the unibody thing. Don't do the rainbow frame thing either.
Unibodies, they're garbage. And
we knew that.
For the other stuff, I think that it is worth taking a trip to North American Rescue. They sell individual first aid kits for like $220. They're great quality. I keep one in my rig. And, a nice fire extinguisher also goes quite a long way.
I thought that was gonna turn into like rescue a dog kind of thing. You're gonna start singing "In the Arms of an Angel." That's where I thought that was going, Luke. But yeah, good call, man. Good call.
Hey, man,
No, that's definitely a good move. Because we're all out there, we have a good time, everybody's having fun, but people do get hurt from time to time, and things happen. So,
yep.
Dude,
I keep 3 fire extinguishers in my rig. Fortunately, my rig's only lit on fire a handful of times. Nothing major, but
I've gotten lucky with everything through my life, but at the same time, I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue to get lucky. So having a fire extinguisher, a tourniquet, and a Israeli bandage.
Israel bandage, apply pressure.
Hey. You might laugh, but those fucking things work really fucking well.
No, they do.
So, it's not that hard to imagine someone falling and getting cut pretty good, or hitting a piece of sheet metal and getting cut pretty good. Just keep everything in mind.
Or losing a leg. Lord.
And work a little extra.
Seeing that, boys. That's not fun.
Yeah, we actually light and airy. The kid caught himself, but when we were doing Copperhead in Vermont, one of the guys that was dealing with us, his kid was running across the rocks and fell on like a boulder field kind of a trail. And dude, like, I'm not a dad, but like if there was a dad instinct in me, it popped out at that moment where I was just like, holy fuck, like I like went to jump, almost like trying to grab him. It was that gnarly. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Luke. Shit happens at crazy times.
Yeah.
It's like
what a note.
$220. Oh, sorry.
What a note to leave it on.
Hey, man, it's $220 to get a full-blown professional grade first aid kit.
But what if we're simple men? Like,
that's fine.
There's a song
Someone
about
there's
that.
got a fucking idea.
Leonard.
You know, and what's it worth to you?
There you go. We'll end it there. That's where we just cut off.
No, we're not cutting off there. You got to keep blasting or something.
Yeah, we gotta keep fucking blasting.
There we go. All right, keep your fucking RPM to weight ratio in the correct zone. We haven't determined what that is yet. We'll let you know next episode.
I like how we got all the way to here, and y'all never let me tell you what the worst trail breakers I've seen.
Oh yeah. Okay, what's your worst trail break?
Fuck.
You probably seen some shit.
I mean, somebody just cut off the Chinaman recording us.
Oh no.
He's fine.
No. We got the main one. I mean, if it doesn't make it doesn't make it. But I think we're good.
Okay, so y'all been to Harlan?
Yes.
Y'all ever ran your turn?
No, but I blew up on what is it? The main entrance.
The main entrance.
Yeah.
What is your turn? I mean, if we did it, I don't remember it.
Your turn is like a long, like creek style trail. Which the farther you go up it, the bigger the rocks get, and then the exit of your turn. Years ago, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, the exit was possible then. It is matured to the point where I don't know where it is today, but last year the exit to your turn was damn near impossible. You had to back all the way out and get on a bypass. You know, a couple of years ago, I took my YJ up there and ripped a front ring and pinion out of it.
Been there.
And you know, of course, it was the first day, like when y'all saw us last year, and I called up my boys at East Coast Gear Supply. They overnighted me a ring and pinion, and
nice.
I put it in and hit. You know, I hit what's it called? What's the big tree? Lions. I hit Lions Den by noon the next day, so you know that was hype. But I think the worst corners I've seen was on your turn, where it's my buddy Chris's rig. It's a S10 Blazer. S10 Blazer, fully tubed out. It started as a full body rig, full tube chassis, and exo cage and all that stuff. And then he cut the front end off and tubed it out, cut the back end, tubed it off. But he stuck that thing up there. And my man's got a Dynatrack 60 in the front. He's got a Dynatrack 80 in the rear.
Some bling bling shit.
Well, here's the deal, though, is these things are like military-issue Dynatrack axles, so allegedly they don't exist on planet Earth. They have serial numbers that don't exist, and they were acquired for a low price. So that's big hype. So he's blasting your turn. We're fucking ripping it, right? And I honestly think I was in my TJ that year. I don't even know if I had the YJ then. No, I had the YJ then. That was like the first year I had the YJ then. But I didn't make it up, and then he came up and hit it, and he was trying to get out the end. And next thing you know, the entire knuckle just rips completely off. Entire driver's side knuckle rips completely off. Freaking axle shaft breaks, knuckle rips off, ball joints break, everything rips. And this thing, I mean, if you've seen the end of your turn, this is a formidable opponent. Like it is a terrible place to lose a rig in, right? And you're at a spot where we typically camp at like the Putney Camp Trailhead. So I think we spent like 8 freaking hours lugging this rig out of here.
Ugh.
It took a copious amount of cold beer. There was a point where we had to go back to the cabin and get more cold beer. But yeah, freaking this rig had literally no wheel and tire on it, right? So we get like 2 or 3 rigs situated, and we winch this thing up out of here, and like you can't drag it because it's got this NRC just digging into Mother Earth, right? And I'm not really trying to destroy this big, beautiful, high-dollar Dynatrack axle, right? So we ended up cutting this freaking tree down with a hatchet. Literally all we had was a freaking hatchet. We cut this like 9-inch diameter tree down. 9 inches, that's a substantial unit. Sorry, I got nothing for that. But, that's not right. But we cut this tree down with a hatchet. So we got this like 20-foot log that we put underneath the whole rig and ratchet strap it to it. And we dragged this bitch out of here to the freaking, what's the trailhead down by Waterfall? I can't remember what it is. You know what it's called?
No.
It's at the bottom, right?
Yeah, it's at the bottom down there, rail bed.
Oh,
And
that's tough.
you know what I'm talking about? So we dragged that thing down there, and it was like, there's no way we're getting this thing back to Putney.
Yep.
So we've got, back to IROX. This rig's got 42-inch IROX on it. So
of course it does.
42-inch IROX, a freaking gigantic Dynatrack custom knuckle, because obviously they couldn't use anything that Ford already created. And they get this custom casting giant Dynatrack knuckle strapped to the top of my buddy's rig. And we're down at the trailhead by the freaking base of rail bed. And my boy's rig is there on a freaking giant log. We got half of the parts of his front axle strapped to the top of all our rigs. And next thing you know, it's like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to go hit waterfall at railbed. We're blasting railbed with all the broken parts of his rig on it. So, as far as worst trail breakage is, that's the worst corners I've seen. That's the longest it's ever taken us to get something off the trail. Other than at AOP, when we had a fire incident. And had to go back the next day and drag a completely burnt to the ground rig off the trail.
Oh.
But fortunately, my buddy and my two buddies are doing all right. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. But yeah, straight trail breakage, 100%. We ripped that knuckle off and destroyed everything under the sun. And I got to tell you, the best part is we called Dynatrack and we ordered some overnight parts from Japan. And he put that son of a bitch back together, and he kept blasting it. So I appreciate that. But that's what I got.
I mean, if you pay that much money, though, I expect you to be able to get that kind of shit.
Well, the funny part was when we were reading in the serial number off the axle, Dynatrack was telling us it didn't exist.
Oh no,
it's not real.
That's not a good sign.
It's like, that's fine. Pigeons aren't real either, so
it's okay. People lose track of inventory. It probably existed. It did exist. It was there, right?
Yep.
So
they found us a shaft. They found us some shafts for it, so they must have found some.
Mm-hmm. Just straight up lying.
Yeah, but that was definitely the worst. As far as worst recovery happened, we've torn so much shit up. We've ripped rear suspensions out of rigs, but somehow those were easier to recover than that. I've had a buddy who's broken transmissions in half. If you're familiar with Rinrock, Trail 39 on Rinrock, we had to drag that thing all the way out from halfway up to actually Big Hill Climb.
Well, that's the thing about the Southern Wheeling is like the distance you have to go to get to some of these places is so far. You blow your shit up, you're fucked. You're in for a night.
Oh yeah. There was an incident at the Rain of Rocks where I may or may not have had to recover a rig, but like I said, we can't talk about that unfortunately. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. In time,
we'll watch it. Story for next time.
Yeah. We got to get the boys on. We got to get the gang on because. Yeah, y'all would enjoy the hood rat shit they got to say.
Your recoveries are reminding me of my stupid break after break after break after our railbed incident. We've talked about that way too many times at this point, but it was quite the thing. I blew a brake line, no big deal, whatever. Down one brake. Yeah. Blew my ring and pinion literally 10 minutes later on a stupid obstacle. And then I nearly rolled it down that exit hill, blew one of the last functional tires out, so I essentially had two tires on one side with no brakes to that one tire, and it was just a mess. It was bad. Luke's girlfriend will not. She was riding with me. She won't night wheel anymore.
She's like, no, I'm not interested. I'm good.
Yeah,
hard pass.
Good times. Fortunately, it drove out under its own power, but it was a.
Hey, so real quick, Colin Bates just called me, and he says, "Hi, Ober Time. Hope you're doing well, and that you put on a good show at Railbed."
Hell yeah, appreciate that. Hell yeah, we just like to have fun, man. We just like to have fun.
You definitely
we really
do.
just like to act ignorant and pretend that real life doesn't exist.
Don't we all?
By the way, Graham, fuck you. You've literally traumatized her to the point that she doesn't want to go wheeling anymore.
Oh, she can relax. Maybe
She can
just
relax.
don't ride with me anymore. Ride with Cody or something. I don't know.
That's
Like
just-
I know. I was gonna say, bro. I've had lucky saves. That's about it. I don't think told my shit enough.
Ride with Kate. Ride with Kate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you ain't kidding.
Alrighty.
Um,
All right, we're dragging this on here.
I know it's cold blooded.
Yeah, let's keep that ratio of whatever the hell it is.
Oh yeah,
Rev
Rev limiter to what was it?
Weight ratio, yeah.
Yeah, Rev limiter to weight ratio. So
Keep that in the
Yeah.
optimal range. We don't know what that is yet. You tell us, and keep blasting.
keep fucking blasting, boys.
Hey guys, Cody here. Just wanted to hop on and kind of fill you in on the last little bit there. So we just spoke to Ober Time Garage or on Instagram, Ober Time. That is OBER_time. If you guys want, go check out all the stuff that he does. Fantastic dude. I love that we chatted with him. I think that his stories and how he talks and holds himself is fantastic. And if you guys do as well, go check him out on YouTube. That's Ober Time Garage, and go check him out on Instagram at Ober Time. Thank you.